of Do Go On. My name is Jess Perkins, and as always, I'm here with Matt Stewart.
Hey Jess, so good to be here. It is great to be alive.
It is good to be alive. That's the catchphrase you were trying to get going a little while ago, and it has taken off.
It's back.
You can get your It's Good to Be Alive t-shirts at itsgoodtobealive.com. Don't know why I've gone immediately into this kind of announcer voice, but I'm stuck in it. We are not...
So you are, Jess.
We don't have Dave with us still.
He's still in Europe.
He's jaunting.
Gallivanting.
He's having a great time around Europe. He's not thinking about us once. Sometimes we message him and he's like, who is this? And that hurts.
That's rude.
But we are delighted to be joined by our friend,
Okay.
an actor, comedian, improviser, and very tall. It is Marcel Blanch-de Wilt.
Oh, it's a thrill to be here. I hope not many people, when you said Dave still isn't here, they just went click. The end.
Hooroo, he's my favourite. Look, probably. Yeah, probably some. And that's got nothing to do with you. It's definitely to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave, universally, every year being voted as everyone's favourite report doer.
Interesting.
Which, does it hurt? Yeah. But is he also our favourite? Yeah.
Are you saying
not
that, like,
anymore. I'm my favourite now.
in terms of a sandwich metaphor, like, are you guys the bread and he's the filling?
I feel like he's the bread and we're the filling.
Yeah, he's the boring bit.
Yeah,
that you
we're the
need
flavour.
to contain everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And we're
He's
the
structural.
Yeah. Well, look, we're delighted that you're here because obviously when one of the three of us is away, it means the other two have to do more report writing, which obviously we love, grateful, #blessed to have this incredible opportunity. But you reached out because you were in Melbourne doing some gigs, catching up with friends, and you said, hey, like, I listened to the pod. Could I come and do a report? And
I want to crash the pod.
I want to crash the pod. And I said, oh, God, yes, absolutely. Amazing timing. So we're delighted to have you. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I know what the topic is.
Oh, I don't know. So maybe I'm the only one with hands on buzzers. But
You'll get to have a guess.
well, maybe first I'll explain the show to
Yeah.
new listeners. And the way it works is normally one of the three of us goes away and researches a topic, usually suggested by a listener, and then bring back that new knowledge in the form of a sort of an old high school report. And we do a little oral presentation while the other two people quietly and respectfully listen and don't annoyingly jump in with tedious tangents.
Never interrupt. Never riff.
Why would you?
And this week, Marcel is doing the report, and we always get onto the topic with a question. Marcel, what is your question?
My question is, what $3.5 billion franchise wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Lucille Ball?
Oh,
Oh, that's a good question.
I Love Lucy is a $3.5 billion franchise.
You're not familiar with that franchise?
Yeah, I knew Ricardo was doing well. I didn't know he was doing that well. Lucille Ball. Oh, shit.
I don't think thinking Lucille Ball will help
Okay, that
you.
won't help. All right, just think big franchises.
Big franchises.
We've done Star Wars,
Have we?
Lord of the Rings. We're talking about movie franchise.
Oh, I can give you that clue. Yeah, we're talking movies. I don't know how many other franchises that don't have movies of that ilk.
Yeah, true.
Unless it wasn't her green lighting the Halo games or something like that.
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Something Pixar related.
I reckon think
Nope.
like I'm pretty sure Dave's a big fan of this franchise.
Indiana Jones?
No.
No.
Dave's a big friend. Oh, Poirot.
The Poirot franchise. Yeah, those later ones they
Kenneth
really took
Branagh,
off.
yeah.
Kenneth Branagh movies they're big.
They're pretty
Is it-
good.
Oh, no, we've done James Bond. Big movie. Oh, Chris Pratt. Jurassic Park.
It's not Jurassic Park.
Flat.
What's his name?
Pratt.
I was getting him confused with Justin Plapp, who was an old Richmond footballer.
Plapp. Plapp.
Yeah.
Plapp was a name. Plapp.
Oh
The
my
bulk
God.
we're not going to have any time for the rest of the episode. It's just
Katie
guessing the whole
Holmes'
time.
ex-husband.
Katie. Oh, Tom fucking Cruise. Mission Impossible.
That's correct.
I love these movies as well. Oh, big fan of the Mission Impossible series. Dave hates it, doesn't he?
Oh,
Oh,
you know
does
He
what?
he?
hates Tom Cruise.
Okay, yeah, I should have said franchise. I knew one of you liked it. Sorry, I thought
interesting.
It was,
He hates
Dave.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, hates Tom Cruise. And I'm right in
I feel like I've come in and been like, oh, now that Dave's away, I talk about his most hated thing. This is like the evil podcast version.
Yeah, so you're going to talk about Tom Cruise and food with flavour. Things
I hate pies.
Oh, that's great. No, I watch all of these movies in one of the lockdowns, and I'm looking forward to the new one coming out soon.
Oh, so am I. Should we get stuck into it?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I've been working on this for a while. I'm a big fan of the show, and it's the first time doing a report.
Yeah.
So I sort of threw myself in here. So feel free, if I ever go off into some sort of fugue state, you can steer me back, and go, Marcel, we don't know what's going on anymore.
Bring it back, buddy.
Okay.
Bring it back.
Well,
Yeah,
can I bring it back now? What's a fugue state?
Fugue state. I remember I first learned the term in Breaking Bad when Walter White had to figure out an explanation for why I think he disappeared for a while, and I think he got naked and then walked into a supermarket, and then Skylar was like, "Oh, something's medical has happened to you because of your cancer," and he's I went into a fugue state, but really he was doing meth stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, meth state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a fugue state, I guess, is a meth state.
It's when you've left your body.
Yeah.
I've just checked the hat to see if anyone suggested it. It's never been suggested.
Yeah, right.
I was assuming someone would have.
Interesting. Which means no one is interested.
No, I reckon they are. I mean, you heard Michelle Brazier come on and talk for 3 hours about the Fast and Furious franchise, and that and Michelle was worried. To be honest, we were a little worried that people wouldn't enjoy that. They loved it.
I loved it too, and I think I listened to it over about 3 or 4 sittings.
Yeah, I think that's the way
I
I
always
do
sit
it.
down to listen to my podcast in my podcast chair, of course.
Some people have reading nooks.
Yeah,
Not
my challenge will be to beat it by going under that run time.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Well, you got a good
let
chance.
You know, yeah.
Every other episode we've ever done, beat it in that way.
I think it had been like half an hour and she'd finished the first film, and I was like, there's so many more films.
All right, so I'll give you a quick little overview of in relation to the question. So Desilu Productions was an American television production company founded and co-owned by husband and wife Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. The company is best known for shows such as I Love Lucy, The Lucy Show, Mannix, The Untouchables, Mission Impossible, and Star Trek. So
wow.
they've got a lot of big names under their belt.
Yeah.
Was there a recent series where Nicole Kidman played her in like a biopic or something?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I wonder if they got into
reviews.
the Mission Impossible.
Just a lot of scenes of her going, what about this Mission Impossible thing? Wink. I love those scenes where they're like, that will never take off.
Yeah.
They love those scenes.
That's
Or the
right.
origin of some tedious thing. It's like, and that's how that character got a mustache.
Yes,
Glad
at
we
the
saw
start of
that.
the Poirot movie. Yeah.
yeah.
So, folks, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to listen to this report. This podcast will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Oh my God, no.
All right, so let's talk about why I love these movies. I love Fast and the Furious as well. If Michelle hadn't done Fast and the Furious, that would have been my first thing.
Great.
I love silly movies. I love a heist movie.
Oh, yeah.
I love a caper. I love a movie that ends with the villain going, "Oh, how did you do that?"
Yes.
Love a bit of that.
It would have
action.
been, I mean, she left room for someone to do an episode about the Fast and the Furious makings of. She didn't really give any details.
Yeah, it was just plot. How do you feel about a romp?
I love. My favorite genre is a romp.
Yeah,
me
great.
too.
Later,
Love
you
a
mentioned
romp.
Thor. That's a romp. A lot
Love
of
a
people
romp.
didn't love the latest Thor. I love a romp.
I liked it too. I was surprised to hear that people didn't like it.
Yeah, I
but-
haven't seen it yet, but
The
I've
Mummy,
heard
that's a
mixed.
romp.
Mummy
Yeah,
is
Mummy's-
a romp.
Yeah, I
Mum's
love a romp.
Yeah, best
I love
kind
an
of films, a
adventurous
romp.
And they don't make enough romps these days.
And I love a Marvel because there's lots of action and fight sequences, and you're like, these fight sequences are completely unrealistic. I love it. I love a spaceman and a god having a fight. It's so fun.
It's a bit of fun.
Bit of fun,
And
lighten
in a
up, you
world like
nerds.
this at the moment, give me a little bit of light relief. That's what my mum would always say if we watched. Often if it was a bad movie, like you chose the wrong movie on a Friday night from the rental place, and then credits are rolling. No one really had a great time, and she'd go, "Well, that was that was light.
Yeah.
She's still trying to look at the silver lining.
Yeah.
I've heard some parents will be like, well, that was a waste of time. I'm like, oh, what a bad feeling to leave after sharing a time with your family going, well, great choice, Matt.
Well, that sucked.
That's the last time you're choosing the video.
Time with you.
I'm not going to confide in you again, Marcel, if you keep divulging my secret memories.
Secret memories.
Then why do you have that blog titled mattsecretmemories.com?
Shush, Marcel.
I'm also a big fan of any movies or TV shows where you can say out loud to the TV screen, how are they going to get out of this one? That's always and I always annoy my wife by doing that a lot. I realized that was a little Simpsons reference to Treehouse of Horror 9 when Bart and Lisa are trapped in the Itchy and Scratchy show. Homer looks at the TV and says, how are Bart and Lisa going to get out of this one? It's always just seared into my brain. So I'm going to give you an overview of the TV series, and then I'm going to run through the movies. I'm going to give you a little bit of plot, a little bit of behind the scenes, some of the trivia, my favorite bits, the most iconic bits that people would know. Tom Cruise's insane stunts and stuff. But yeah, I've absorbed a lot of what I didn't write down as well. So I'm also on hand to you can test me on things as well.
Great.
What do you think of? Because this is one of the things that Dave really hates about Tom Cruise, that he does his own stunts. He's like, who cares? Get a stuntman to do it.
Dave reckons he's taking the job of a stuntman.
Yeah, well, The Rock had a statement about this. Did you see this? Like he believes strongly in giving stuntmen the roles because if The Rock injures himself, then like how many millions of dollars that's going to take until that movie can resume production. So like
that's
the responsibility side.
Cruise. He's the most famous one to do
pretty much. And all the other, and it becomes a marketing thing to be like, oh, this guy did all these stunts, or like, oh, the marketing around this scene was actually improvised. Yuck. I hate that stuff.
I think I've just started because I was watching a few other Tom Cruise action movies this week, and I think it started to make me think about the action scenes. I'm thinking about them filming it while they're going on. I'm like, oh, this isn't helpful. I shouldn't know anything about the process.
Yeah, just let it wash over me.
You're about to ruin that for this whole franchise, but
I like it if, like, especially fight scenes, if they can film the fight in like one nice tight shot. And because they don't need to hide that isn't really the actors, like that's really nice. Because I love a good fight scene, hand to hand, and you go, oh, cool, they've done some cool, interesting choreography for that. If it's some of those things where they're doing the real leap off a building, and you're like, that could really be anyone doing that. You didn't really need to
break your ankle.
That seems a little extreme. That seems extreme. But he also loves it, and also Tom Cruise is a producer and is also sort of has insured himself for like whatever cost that it takes for him to do his own stunts. So it's not like everyone's like, hey, you're not getting paid for the next 2 months because I hurt my ankle. They're still going to get that time covered and
Seems
stuff.
like it's really important to him.
I think Tom Cruise could have his own report about just him and like his brain and stuff, because that's a whole other thing of who is the man off screen.
Yeah.
Because we all know that he's done some questionable things in his private life.
He's an odd guy.
Oh, I didn't know about the questionable things.
Well, he's an odd. Have you heard of Scientology, Matt?
Yeah, okay.
Didn't you give me that pamphlet on the way in?
Yeah. Didn't you? You did a report on it.
Yeah.
On Scientology. I knew he was a Scientologist, but I think, like knowing he does stunts, I think the less I know, the more I can enjoy his films.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you love the films of Roman Polanski so much.
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything about personal life.
He's a good stand-up guy, right?
That's good work.
Your favourite filmmakers, Roman Polanski, Woody Allen, and Louis C.K. Sorry, I'm blowing up your spot, Matt. Sorry, I apologise.
These are secret memories.
Secret memories. All right, so Mission Impossible, if you didn't know, started with a TV series that I said was greenlit by Lucille herself in the year 1966, which I am told is around the time when Matt graduated high school.
It's also the year the Saints won their one and only VFL premiership. There's other thing that I think the Chicago Bulls were founded that year.
Oh, really?
Who Michael Jordan ended up playing with. And
Michael Jordan.
He famously wore 2 pairs of shorts. If you want to know the full story, look it up. It is ball terror.
I've seen The Last Dance. I saw that.
I didn't know it was a TV series.
It's begun as a TV series.
And the theme song was from that? I guess you're going to spend some time on that.
Oh,
probably.
you bet I'm going to mention that theme song.
Yeah.
Most of this report is the theme song. So it was created and initially produced by Bruce Geller. No relation to the Gellers from Friends. The show chronicled the exploits of a small covert team of secret government agents known as the Impossible Missions Force. Did you guys know that that's what IMF stands for?
No.
Impossible Missions Force. And their sophisticated and subtle methods of deceiving, manipulating, and thwarting hostile Iron Curtain governments, third world dictators, corrupt industrialists, and crime lords, among others.
They were your go-to thwarters. If
Yeah.
you needed something thwarted,
Yeah.
IMF.
Gosh, we
Yeah.
need something thwarted. Yeah, there's no one thwarting things anymore.
No, sadly.
Can't get it. Yeah, you can't. They don't thwart things like they used to.
You look in the yellow pages under teeth of a thwart, and it's hard to find.
Yeah, because who's got a yellow pages?
Yeah.
So in the first season, the team is led by Dan Briggs, and then Jim Phelps takes over in the second season. I read that Dan Briggs, the actor who played Dan Briggs, had a religious reason that he needed to end his, I think it was Jewish Orthodox, and he had to end his workday by 4 p.m. So he just became a struggle to work with. I think when he's always, I got to knock off at 4. So yeah, he got booted. So Phelps usually assembles the same core team of agents, all of whom have careers and some degree of celebrity outside of espionage.
Oh.
The team is occasionally supplemented by other specialists. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. So the inspiration from the series, I read about this from a Mission Impossible fan website called Wikipedia.org.
Oh, wow.
You guys familiar?
Cool.
No.
Just got Mission Impossible facts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That
About
sounds
the
great.
series, the TV series specifically? Or just have movie stuff as well?
Anything Mission Impossible you can find.
The
on
whole
there. Yeah.
$3.5 billion franchise.
Indeed,
Holy
yeah.
moly.
Wow, that's cool.
So a key inspiration for Geller was the 1964 Jules Dassin film Top Cappy. I did not look up how to pronounce that. Innovated for its methodical depiction of an elaborate heist. So this sort of started as a heist film sort of idea, which makes a lot of sense. Geller switched the focus away from criminals, but kept Dassin's style of minimal dialogue, prominent music scoring, and clockwork precision execution by a team of diverse specialists. Several episodes, in fact, show close-up shots of an agent's wristwatch to convey the suspense of working on a deadline.
Oh.
Good bit of product placement too.
Yeah.
Oh, Tissot.
Yeah, because
My Rolex says we only have 30 seconds to go.
Because James Bond always has like a fancy watch, but I think
Yeah.
rarely, I mean, unless he's like got a lasso, what is it? Like a little,
Yeah.
he shoots a little thing out of it. Rarely does he have a real good reason to check it. Geller also insisted on minimal character development because he felt that seeing the characters as blank slates would make them more convincing in undercover work, and because he wanted to keep the focus on the caper. Geller vetoed attempts by writers to develop the main characters. Even after Geller was removed from the show, the agents were rarely, if ever, seen in their real lives and had only one scene where they interacted at Phelps' apartment. So they were very bland. Even in like the first episode, the main actor did a little smirk after one of the missions, and he was told by the producer not to smile, which I thought was very strange.
That is so odd.
So, but you were saying that the characters initially, they all had celebrity double lives?
Well, like celebrity in term, I think they're using that word a bit broadly, but like they're like iconic sort of things. Like this person's, and like one of the team members is an actress.
Yeah, right.
So like she's been
That's like
brought
one
in
of the
for
most
that.
famous kinds of celebrities, Marcel. Not a good example.
But she's not a huge like superstar or whatever.
But that's interesting because I don't think I know what I don't think Ethan Hawke has a second life. He just lives on an island when he's not.
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hawke?
Ethan Hawke is an actor.
I don't think Ethan Hawke has a life. I don't think so.
I
No,
bet you were
sorry,
just talking
Ethan
about
Hawke.
Ethan Hawke as an example of just a guy.
Ethan Hawke is an actor. Yes, Matt.
I'm all of a sudden, I'm curious to see where Ethan Hunt as a character started, if he's from the TV show. I wonder if he'll get to Ethan Hawke at some point. Oh my God, the suspense is killing me. Dun, 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 dun.
You keep looking at your wristwatch. So in the show, there's like the origin of a few things like disguises and theatrics to trick people. It's like a lot about brains over brawn. Like a lot of it is about how to entrap, and like they use the term mouse traps a lot to like how can we trick people into like confessing to things.
Cheese.
Yeah, a lot of cheese being used. And I've always liked shows like MacGyver and things like Star Trek, where they are often, it's not about
Another one of Lucille Ball's great works.
This is true. Like it's not about beating up the bad guys and therefore you win. Like it's about losing your wits, which I really like. Another iconic thing is the mission briefing, you know, in those recordings, and they say, "Good morning, Mr. Phelps." And the tape message usually continues, "Your mission, Jim, should you decide to accept it?" And then that became choose to accept it for the big nerds.
I like choose better.
I like choose a lot. And at the conclusion, the listener is reminded, as always, should you or any of your IM force be caught or killed, the secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions.
Right.
And then this tape will destruct in 5 seconds. Sometimes it was 10 seconds. So there was some teething issues. Like, what's more exciting, 5 seconds or 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Sounds like a real toxic relationship between IMF and the agents, to be honest. Oh, we will disavow you if you do anything wrong. Oh, yuck.
Well, we don't know him. Yeah, we don't. Oh, he's not with us. It was out. No, that's not one of ours.
No.
I don't know who that guy is.
Ethan Hunt, Ethan Hawke. I don't know. I know Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, is that who you're talking
Is
about?
that who you mean?
The actor Ethan Hawke, who definitely has a second life outside of this.
And
What?
then
Sorry,
of course, there would be smoke that would come out of the tape that had the recording on it. In some early episodes, the chemical would be added to the tape, and then Briggs would blow air onto it, causing the chemical to react and destroy the recording.
So it didn't self-destruct.
But interestingly, the word self-destruct was coined by the show's writers.
Whoa.
And became widely used after that.
Oh, that's
Isn't that interesting
interesting
that self-destruct didn't exist after
Yeah.
that? This is from, of course, Wikipedia.org, so take everything with a grain of salt,
What
of
if
course.
what if you hit play on the tape and then like your phone rang, or like the cat
Yes.
knocked something over and then you're like, shit, no, I didn't get my pen and paper. I missed what they said, and then it's gone.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of these guys have really good memories. Yeah.
Wow, that must be part of the training. Because I would forget. So if I can't write it down, it's not happening.
Yeah, you want to... I need to find a pen,
Yeah. Or I'm like, it's not in my Google Calendar. I have no
Can
idea
you
what
repeat
you're
that
talking
back?
about.
Send me an e-invite,
Yeah.
please.
Can you e-invite me? Thank you.
I know we had a phone call about this, but can you send me a follow-up email so I have it in writing?
Yeah.
That's very nice. So let's talk about the iconic theme. Composed by Lalo Schifrin, who was born Boris Claudio Lalo Schifrin in 1932. He's an Argentine-American pianist, composer, arranger, and conductor. He's best known for his large body of film and TV scores since the 1950s, incorporating jazz and Latin American musical elements alongside traditional orchestrations. He is a 5-time Grammy Award winner and has been nominated for 6 Academy Awards and 4 Emmy Awards. And this theme was written in just 3 minutes.
Whoa.
3 minutes?
Yeah, it goes for 5 minutes.
Even if you said 3 days, I was going to be impressed. 3 minutes?
Yeah. Doesn't that also mean, like, did you really try that hard as well? Like, you'd be like, anyway.
Just
But
came to
imagine
him.
not really trying that hard and you make something iconic.
Yeah.
I suppose. That's what I do every week. Right here on this very podcast.
Oh, on this? Oh, okay. I was wondering what you're referring to.
It's certainly not my radio work.
He was asked about the theme where he said, I was in Vienna and at a press conference, and one lady asked me why I wrote Mission Impossible in 5/4 time signature. Schifrin told the New York Post, I said, everybody knows that there have been beams from outer space coming because of the interplanetary flights. The people in outer space have 5 legs and couldn't dance to our music, so I wrote this for them.
Everyone knows that.
That's fun.
As Schifrin said, the reporter believed it and all the magazines in Vienna published.
He must have been like, oh my God.
Come
Who was I
on,
talking
lady.
to? Jeez.
Sarcasm.
Oh my
Come
God.
on.
So it's just been a little bit cheeky. So then, on top of that, the TV series from 1966 was then rebooted in 1988, the year I was born.
Coincidence?
When were you born?
Or
1990. and then approximately 88 years before Matt's birth. Jim Phelps is back.
Before my birth.
You are,
Wait, I'm not here
you
yet.
are yet to be alive. You are yet to be alive, my friend.
What a way to find out.
Who writes this stuff?
Did you get that from wikipedia.org?
Yeah.
They also have a section on Matt's secrets.
Oh,
And
God.
secret memories.
So Jim Phelps has been brought back, the same actor. He's got a fresh team of recruits. I watched one episode of this, and you can find them on YouTube, and it was fun to watch. Like it's very light, very silly. So it opens with this. So at a party at a high-rise apartment, a man gets shot with a dart to make him hallucinate that he's on fire. Okay, so he gets hit with a dart, and suddenly he's looking at his arms. He's like, "Oh, my arms are on fire. My legs are on fire." Now, let me ask the two of you: if this happened to you, and you suddenly thought that you were on fire, you don't know you're hallucinating. You just suddenly think you're on fire.
Drop, roll. 3 words.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
What I would do is I would run around the room, flailing my on fire arms, trying to get as many people, things, pets, whatever, also on fire.
Interesting. Okay, so the third answer was to jump out the window.
That was my second option.
And this is because he gets shot by an assassin, with this dart. So the assassin must have known. Oh, I know what he'll do.
He'll jump out the window.
He'll obviously jump out the window.
Obviously.
Because otherwise his plan. Because he also leaves after he shoots him with the dart to not be suspected. And he just goes, yeah, well, he'll definitely jump out. What else could you possibly do?
And especially like high-rise apartments, usually pretty hard to open a window.
It's true.
Or the windows are quite solid.
This is
But he
very
just jumps
true.
out a window.
He just jumps.
That's the worst thing you can do.
That's a terrible idea.
Because you don't you want to starve it of oxygen.
And there
right?
wasn't even like a big pool underneath or anything like that. He just
Jump in the shower.
You know where the most oxygen is? Outside.
That's true.
You're just jumping right into oxygen.
That's dumb.
And
Very dumb.
what I would surely you would assume that he's going to at least go into a bath or a shower
Yeah.
or
A tap of any kind.
to overturn
Somebody
his
throw a
fish
drink.
tank.
Throw a drink at me.
Throw a drink. You want me to throw a drink at you?
Yeah, this wasn't. I
Sorry,
wasn't
that
talking
wasn't-
about in the scene. I'm just saying, hey, Marcel, can you throw a drink at me, please?
And then let's get back to
And then
whatever you're
let's
talking
get
about.
I wasn't listening.
So it's like the show's very camp and silly. Once again, it's more about trapping criminals. So in this episode that I watched, the assassin from the start has killed Jim's best friend. So this is what brings Jim back into the field. And there's even when he goes to the funeral for his friend, the Mission Impossible theme is playing, but it's a sad version of the Mission Impossible
wow.
theme. And all the composers for all the movies after that do play around with the Mission Impossible theme in different sort of ways, which is cool. So they need to trap this guy to get his main contact. So they recruit a spy who's also a drama teacher, which I think is delightful.
Perfect.
As a drama teacher myself,
Yeah.
I think that's great because that means I could be called up to be a spy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as some sort of celebrity.
And you
A
just-
drama teacher.
Space jump. You'd be able to do stuff like that, which is really cool.
But really, they are sort of doing like immersive theatre on this guy because they pick up the assassin in a taxi, and this guy's Australian, and he's doing an Australian accent but pretending to be British. And because Americans don't have good ear for accents, so this Australian guy's sort of doing British, but he just sounds completely Australian.
Americans don't have good ears for accents. I didn't know
You
that.
haven't heard that? You know how you never encountered an American, they're like, oh, are you British? You never had that situation before?
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
They don't have a good ear. And if you ask an American, I'm speaking very generally, to do an Australian accent, it is wild what
I
they think we
but
sound like.
it just feels like they're two separate the kinds of accents. Like it's easier. I'm guessing, but it feels like it would be easier for us generally to do an English accent than to do an American accent. Would that be fair? But there's so many Australian actors who work in Hollywood with American accents, I guess.
I just think Americans, as far as I've encountered them, are very in their own little part of the universe.
Right.
They don't really think much
I'm
about it.
just talking general. I can do American or English equally.
Can you
well.
show us a little taste?
Yeah.
Do you need a phrase to say? Or
Yeah, well, ask me a question.
where's your favourite restaurant in Melbourne?
Favorite restaurant in Melbourne. Let me have a think here.
Where are you from again?
I'm from America.
I'm not
and,
sure.
What
America.
What part of
From
America?
America. No, Marcel is from America.
I'm from America. I'm from the Midwest, and or the California coast. I've actually traveled around it. Accent's a little muddled because of that, but Yeah, I love a little bagel place down on 3rd. And
Down on 3rd.
Yeah, down on 3rd.
In Melbourne, okay.
Talk to Keith there. He's fantastic, and he'll hook you up if you tell him my name, which is Johnny Pizzazz.
Well, this was awkward that like someone named Johnny Pizzazz happened to walk in and interrupt Matt's impersonation. Matt was about to do that impersonation, and Johnny Pizzazz walks in. Awkward.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to try it now that Johnny Pizzazz is left?
Oh, no. I mean, we've already had an American. I could do an English one if you like.
Go,
okay. Yeah, sure.
English.
Well, you ask me a question and I'll...
Jess, do you want to ask this question?
Yeah, I'll ask a question. Hey Matt, what are you doing tonight?
What am I doing tonight? Good question, that. Probably head over to this great bagel place on 3rd. Talk to Keith. He'll look after you. Just tell him I sent you. My name is Johnny Pizzazz.
Oh, that's so weird that another guy named Johnny Pizzazz walked in right before you were going to do that impersonation. Matt, do you want to do the actual impersonation?
What? I mean, I don't know. What
Why
is this
people
bloody
just walking
central
in and
station
out?
here? Everyone's coming in and out.
We're trying to podcast here. God.
Yeah. Honestly, we probably should get back to the report, but
Yeah, I guess
I would have
so.
loved to have had a go.
But what's great as well, so you might have heard about the people using masks and disguises in the Mission Impossible series. So in the 1988 version, they don't have the technology where like they're getting like a computer chip attached to their neck or whatever that changes their voice. In this one, they're just very good at impersonating people.
Great.
So there's multiple scenes in this one episode where like they're listening to a recording of the assassin and the guy's going, oh, let me just try and see if I can get this voice. A little bit deeper, a little bit up, and then it swaps to a dubbing over.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
just the other
That's
actor
great.
doing the voice, and it's so amazing. It's like, oh, wait, I've nailed it now.
That's
That is
awesome.
very good.
It's very, very funny.
Because it would have been hard, like the mask thing, I guess would have been harder to pull off with smaller TV budgets in the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of disguises. I was listening to a podcast called Light the Fuse that digs deeper in, like they've got like over 100 episodes on everything Mission Impossible.
Wow.
They were a great resource, and there are some episodes, I believe there's an episode where they are disguised as people from the Arabic people, I believe they were described as. So they do a little bit of brown face in the show, which is a little awkward in today's world.
It's it takes you out of it, doesn't it? When you're watching something, you're like, it's dated, but it's a bit of fun. Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm not enjoying anymore.
Whoopsie daisy. So let's get stuck into the movies, which is really why we're here. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the TV series to get us stuck into it. So, as I say, they've made over $3.5 billion to date. They're the 16th highest grossing film series of all time.
Wow.
Name a top 15. Just go.
Series, Sound
The
of Music
podcast?
1
Oh,
and 2.
There's a second movie?
There's a second one. It's not good.
Do the Nazis come
The
back?
Nazis
in the
get
second
them.
one? Yeah. Oh,
It's not
shit.
good.
Sound of Music 2. Nazis fight back.
Yeah.
Less sounds of music.
I actually don't worry about the rest of that list.
So the general formula, if you don't know, the general shape of these movies is like Act 1, a mission doesn't quite go to plan. Act 2, they have an extremely tricky mission. Some might say impossible mission
Okay.
to try and pull off. And then Act 3 is usually the showdown or like a third mission to make up for the main mission not quite going to plan. That's usually the sort of framework.
Did they play around with the different title? Mission a bit tricky?
Mission pretty tough.
I'm sure there was there's a million parodies of this stuff, so I'm sure there are. You should forgive me because also this movie series is called Mission: Impossible. So sorry about that. I didn't make that quite clear. It's Mission: Impossible.
I don't know if I like it. I mean, it makes
Where
sense
would you put the colon?
grammatically. I understand the need for it. Yeah, where would I put the colon? Probably in my guts.
Oh.
I reckon.
I would have just
That's where
used
I
it.
put the colon.
Yeah, I think that's where it belongs. Get it back in there. So I think you should take it off this table and put it back where it fucking
Do I have a
belongs to.
colon? Yeah, I got
Do
a
you
colon.
have a
Everyone's got
colon? I hope so. Otherwise, this is a medical emergency.
I got one. Yeah,
you
probably.
do I have a colon?
Can I get a colon?
Brief moment where I was like thinking of it like a prostate. I was like, I don't have one of those, do I?
Wait, is colon? Is that the technical name for a dick and balls?
Have I got one of those or not? It's fine either way.
Upcoming special report just on the colon. Yeah, right. So Mission Impossible, 1996. What were you guys doing in 1996?
Ooh, I was in. That was probably the year I was in prep, first year of school, I think, or was that 90? Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was redoing year 7 for I think 100th time or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It
100 times.
Just didn't take.
Yeah,
right.
It took me a long time to get through school. Hundreds of years.
Yeah, right.
But he got there and we were very proud of him.
Yeah.
So this one was directed by Brian De Palma, who's famous for The Untouchables, Scarface, and also I found out the music video for Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Ah.
So quite an oeuvre, as they say.
Classic.
So Brian De Palma wanted to make his own thing, as evidenced by this behind-the-scenes anecdote. So the person responsible for directing more episodes of the original Mission Impossible television series than anyone else was asked by the head of Paramount Pictures to be present on the set for consulting and advising. Director Brian De Palma approached him and told him how much he had enjoyed the original series. He also added that the movie would be nothing like the television show and that his presence on the set would only result in making both of them uncomfortable. And then Reza, the director, thanked him for his honesty and left the set, never to return.
Oh, that's awkward.
And I kind of liked that
That's
as
straight.
well. You know,
Yeah.
Paramount said, "Oh, you should come and be present," and then Brian's
He's
going
like,
"Don't worry
Yeah,
about it, dude."
it'll be a waste of your time.
Yeah. And the guy's like, "Sick, thanks for telling me."
Hooroo.
It is boring to hang out on film sets. Film sets are so
They're
boring.
incredibly boring.
Imagine and you don't have anything really to do,
Yeah, exactly.
which is what most people are most of the time, right?
Yeah. It's
You
a
just be-
lot of sitting and waiting.
Waiting to be consulted. Hey, what do you reckon about this shot?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it's good that I've filmed the actors in it? Or
Yeah, it's
something?
good. I think it was a good choice to film the actors.
Do you usually point the camera at the actors when you were doing the Mission Impossible TV series? Cameras are a bit bigger, aren't they?
What do you
Anyway,
reckon?
thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
That's a big help. Thanks,
I get your
mate.
cuppa, or you just want to head off? Yeah, all right. All right.
So this feels a little bit like a gritty reboot, and I feel like Batman Begins was like when people started using the term gritty reboot, but I feel like the 90s had its share of gritty reboots. Like even movies like GoldenEye, which came out the year before, had a little bit of grittiness to it. A lot of like post-Cold War movies. Batman 1990 at the time was a gritty reboot of the 1960s ones.
I don't know that much about the Bond films, but I didn't realize Pierce Brosnan was part of the gritty reboot. But I guess because before that was Roger Moore was like even sillier or something.
Yeah, I mean, the GoldenEye in comparison to the other ones is much more grounded. It's
Right.
way sillier compared to Casino Royale.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like at the time, it was a shift.
Yeah.
And you got Judi Dench turning up. You know,
I love you, Judy.
There's
Dench.
no one grittier.
there's no one
I
grittier than Jude.
Love
I
Judi
love her.
Dench.
I love her too. It was
Eh,
written
not a
by.
fan.
It was
Get
written
out.
by David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park and one of my all-time favorite Alec Baldwin movies, The Shadow. Have you guys ever seen The Shadow?
No, was
I
that
don't
like
think I've seen it.
Is that like an old comic book or something?
It is. It was based on a noir radio show and turned into a movie. It's delightful. It's very camp and silly if you're into that sort of thing. Do you guys like romps?
Yeah,
'Cause
I
it's a
love
romp.
a romp.
Oh my god, I love a romp.
It was produced by Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner, so all the Mission Impossible movies had been produced by Cruise, so he's always had a level of control. Someone might say cruise control. Sorry, I did not write that down, but I felt in my head it had to be said out loud. I paused to see if anyone else was going to take that
You said
up.
it and then you did a Matt and instantly regretted it, kind of, but you also delighted in it, which is beautiful to
Some
watch.
might say cruise control. I just want to get that clean in case you need it for the edit.
Dave would have said it for sure if Dave was here.
So,
I'm talking like he's dead.
yeah.
Oh, rest in
R.I.P.
peace.
Moment of silence.
Dead to us.
R.I.P. Rest in pie.
Rest in pie.
Rest in pie. Unlike Michelle, I'm gonna my summaries of the movies. I'm gonna use the wiki synopsis, and then I'm just gonna pull out a bunch of other things. So if the movies don't seem super clear, feel free to shake me if you want.
Wiki it cops a bit of shit, but it does some things really well, and synopsises are often the best ones online
Yeah,
are
yeah.
on the wiki.
I think so too. So In the first movie, Ethan Hunt is framed for the murder of his IMF team during a botched mission in Prague and accused of selling government secrets to an arms dealer known only as Max. On the run, Ethan seeks to uncover the real traitor and clear his name. Intriguing.
I don't think an anonymous kind of person only known as Max. It's not that, I don't know, it's just not very intimidating.
What's a better name?
Like, as in, it should be like only known as the Baron.
Oh, that's good.
You know? But just
Mr.
like Max.
X.
Yeah, Mr.
Mr. X
X.
is good.
Something with a bit more mystery, but it's like Max. I know people called Max and they're lovely. So I'm not
That's
intimidated
true.
by that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe we can get on the phone to Brian.
Yeah, what about Skullface?
Yeah, known only as Skullface.
Should I redo it?
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt is framed for the murder of his IMF team during a botched mission in Prague and accused of selling government secrets to an arms dealer known only as Skullface.
Yes, now I'm watching that movie.
Just got a
You
chill.
got chills.
Oh,
Every time Max comes up later on, I'll just say Skullface.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
that's it. Max is his first name.
Max
Max
Skullface.
Skullface.
So Ethan Hunt, I was surprised to find out that Ethan Hunt was an original character created for Tom Cruise. I assumed that, he
I
must be
always
in the
had
original
as well.
series. And did you know that Tom Cruise's full name is Thomas Cruise Mapother IV?
No.
Cruz is his middle name.
I believe so, according to
His
Cruise.
surname
Wikipedia.
is Mapother.
Mapother.
Mapother. I don't know if, and this is why Cruise maybe deserves his own thing, because I don't know if that's also like a Scientology name, like his alien name or something.
Mapother.
Like the fourth. I don't know why that fourth is there. Like that seems extreme. But anyway,
It's also just kind of weird to think of him as a Thomas, you know?
this is true. He's not a Thomas.
Yeah, some people you're just so used to their shortened name. Like okay, so like my friend Mish Wittrup, if we're ever out and she has to put her name down for something and she says Michelle, I'm like, what?
Who's that?
Who the hell is Michelle? You're Mish. Very different.
Yeah. Or when we go out and I put my name down as Matt Alexander, you're like, what? I didn't know that's what it was short for, but it is, yeah.
Matt Alexander.
Matt Alexander. Yeah.
It's long and it's stupid, but it's
We
his
can
name
see
and we
why I
love him.
showed it.
It's his name and we love him.
So this first movie is more espionage than action. Not only is it the first only film in the franchise when Ethan Hunt doesn't fire a gun, it's the only one to not have any shootouts or gunfights. There's only 5 gunshots in the whole movie.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Because I watched them all back to back to back in a week. They've all blurred together. But this
Yeah.
is the classic drop down on the wire,
You better believe
drop of
it
sweat
is.
sort of thing.
Yes, that iconic
That is
scene.
iconic. Simpsons probably parodied that, I would have thought.
I think everyone's had a little go. Just like everyone did their own Matrix parody, everyone
Yeah.
did their Mission Impossible. So the team, I won't tell you too much about the team that gets killed off in Act 1, besides Emilio Estevez.
Oh, yeah. That was shocking because you're watching the film going, he obviously survives. He won't get crushed by this elevator.
That's exactly what I wrote down. And I think that was deliberate. They wanted at least one face in that first team that you're going, oh, okay, cool. We're going to be with Emilio for the whole movie. And like I watched this as I would have been about 7 at the time. I had older brothers, and it's a PG-13 M-rated movie in Australia. So like it is, that means you can sort of watch it with parental guidance. But it's pretty violent. Like the first scene, Emilio is getting smushed by this elevator that then like also blades come out at the top that he gets sort of impaled by. You don't see it all, but it's heavily implied. And as a kid, that was always sort of worse.
Real nightmare fuel stuff.
Yeah, like in that movie. Remember, did you ever see that movie Volcano? Where like the guy gets melted in the subway.
Oh, no, I did see Dante's Peak, which I think came out about the same time when
Yeah.
volcano movies were big.
And the grandma gets melted in the
Yeah.
river. Yeah, that's
With the boat, is that it?
Yeah, she pushes the boat. And you rewatch that movie. I don't know
Doesn't
how much she
have
really
to.
needed to jump out and push
Yeah.
that boat. I think she was just tired.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah,
like,
time
"Leave
to
me.
go."
I'm done.
Wow.
This is hard. I was wrong to doubt the mountain."
Oh. I reckon around the same time I remember seeing a movie called Executive Decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this was a big thing at the time where they'd kill off a big character that you didn't expect. Because Steven Seagal, I think it was sort of like top billed in the film almost, and he died in the first 10 minutes.
Really? I thought like Steven Seagal had a clause in his contract that he can never lose a fight.
Oh.
That's interesting.
probably-
Maybe it was after this movie.
And he might have sort of martyred himself or something. I can't remember.
Interesting. Interesting.
He might have personally made the executive decision to kill himself.
That's the titular executive decision.
Kill himself off in the movie.
So Brian De Palma doesn't really do fun for the whole family movies, which the movie sort of evolved to become. After the original team is killed, Ethan Hunt has to put a new team together. He recruits Luther Stickle, played by Ving Rhames, perhaps most famous for playing Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction, and Krieger, played by Jean Reno, acclaimed French actor. You might know him from movies like The Professional or Godzilla, the 1990s Godzilla. And also Claire, played by Emmanuel Bier, joins them as the only other survivor from the botched mission, who used to have a relationship with Jim Phelps, who's a returning character who gets the mission. So the movie opens with Jim Phelps, played by John Voight this time. The original actor did not come back, receiving his mission on a passenger jet via an in-flight movie on a videotape. So this really shows the era. He lights a cigarette on the plane to disguise the tape self-destructing. So it's a cool little opening moment.
That's interesting. I didn't realize he was a returning character. That's great. That adds a little certain. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but
I like
a
little fan servicey sort of things.
Yeah. Sort of certain sort of fan je ne sais quoi.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you could put it in those sort of
French
terms.
there.
That's something that Leon the Professional might have said.
We're introduced to Hunt and his team at the end of a mission using masks and trickery to get their target to give up his secrets. It's a classic IMF style moment from the TV show, doing a bit of theatre to trick the baddies. Each movie I'll mention some of the cool gadgets that feature. It's not
Love that.
It's never James Bond sort of levels, but they always have a few things. Masks are a big fixture of the films, like I mentioned before. Like they always love a mask reveal where they pull off their mask and that they were a different person than the person we thought they were.
And it's the same as the voice version in the old TV shows. It's like they just fully change actor, obviously.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
then it's just that mask coming off and the mask's on the ground. You're like, that didn't do this.
There's no way.
There's no way.
That rubber mask. Made.
And the other funny thing is in this, I'm sure it was his first film, Ethan Hunt goes in under disguise, but it's clearly Tom Cruise in disguise. But every other disguise is perfectly the other actor.
Yeah, the senator that he's doing the impression of also looks a lot like Tom Cruise. Him doing the disguise is just him. But it makes sense because otherwise that whole first mission you wouldn't have a Tom Cruise performance in it. So it does make sense.
Yeah, it had to be in there for that reason, yeah.
Otherwise you're like, where's Tom? Where's the guy I bought the ticket for? There's also, this movie features explosive chewing gum as well. It's green on one side and red on the other, so then when you combine it, it explodes. And Emilio explains to Hunt, he says, red light, green light, to explain how it works. Which is an explanation, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sure. So what are you supposed to do with it?
You smush them together and then smush it on whatever you need to explode. And then
Marcel, you're over explaining. Jess, red light, green light.
Sorry, got it. I'm just thinking you might need to explode a wall to stop. But why not just give somebody the chewy and then they chew it and then they explode?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, how many guys are accepting the chewy that you need to? If you've been captured by them, you're like, hey, before,
stand next to that wall and chew on this.
Just saying.
Oh, your breath stinks. Here you go.
Wow.
I'll look after you. Don't worry, I'm the good cop.
Yeah, I won't tell anybody how bad your breath is.
So Kittredge is a big character in this first movie. He's the director of IMF. And after the first mission goes to shit, Eugene Kittredge meets Hunt in a restaurant in Prague and accuses him of being the mole that destroyed the mission. The mole is just trying to get the knock list, which is a list of undercover agents' real identities. This is the MacGuffin of the first movie. Every movie has a MacGuffin. None of the MacGuffins really matter in terms of what they actually do. They just need something to chase, of course. This scene is full of Dutch tilts to create unease and tension, and I appreciate the Dutch tilt as a Dutch person. I'm a big fan. But
what are your thoughts on the Dutch oven?
Not a fan.
Not a fan. Interesting. Okay.
My wife hates it.
You're picking and choosing what Dutch you like.
I love all Dutch things.
Dutch pancakes?
Dutch history? Don't look into it too much. So realizing that Hunt is in a sticky situation, he uses his explosive chewing gum on the nearby giant fish tank and leaps out the restaurant. It's a really great scene where he dives out the window and Kittredge is like, what am I going to do? I'm surrounded by fish.
Yeah.
You know,
he's trying to pick up the fish. Somebody get buckets of water,
They're
quick.
flipping and flopping on the ground.
Hunt
Kittredge
knows that I love
fish.
fish.
Oh, I love these fish. I need
love-
to chase him, but I love fish too much.
When they use editing in that sort of way to don't show like why they couldn't really pursue the guy, you know, like there's not really a good reason why he could get away in that situation. But most of these movies is Ethan Hunt on the run or having to pretend he's on the run. And Kittredge becomes his pursuer for the rest of the movie. So Hunt is having to find who the mole is after his whole team is dead, while also Kittredge at IMF is like, we've got to get Hunt because we think Hunt is the mole.
And who's Kittredge again?
He's the director of the IMF.
And the actor, that's not Voight. No,
Voight is Jim Phelps, who dies in the first mission.
Oh, yeah, of course.
His mission goes.
He was played by Emilio Estevez.
No.
Was Voight was played by Estevez?
Estevez is just a tech guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man in the van. He's the Simon Pegg character.
He's the man on top of an elevator for some reason. So unlike most of the future movies where, like, you know who the villain is from the start, this movie is like, oh, who's the mysterious mole? Who is the villain? Hunt meets Max, who's played by Vanessa Redgrave. She's a shady underworld broker. Oh, sorry, Skullface. Did we say Skullface?
Skullface.
Yeah, Max
Okay.
Skullface.
Sorry, Hunt meets with Skullface, played by Vanessa Redgrave, a shady underworld broker, and agrees on a deal to steal the knock list himself from the CIA in order to get contact with the mole, codename Job, like from the Bible.
Job.
You're a Bible person?
Yeah.
Oh, big Bible people over here. Yeah.
Have you done an episode on
the Bible?
the good book?
Not yet.
No.
Saving that for lucky number 400.
Yeah. When I hear Job, I think of Job Watson, the old Essendon captain.
I think of Arrested Development.
Yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. So yeah, you are correct. So I will mention that there is a cable guy moment in almost every movie, and this one, of course, is the CIA building where Ethan Hunt has to drop in via the ceiling to slide down.
Okay, not
slowly.
Jim Carrey.
Cable guy.
Cable guy, gotcha.
So Brian De Palma describes it as setting a suspense hook, and then once you set the suspense hook, then you can milk it for all it's worth. So in this scene where they have to break into the CIA, the computer is protected by heat sensors. You can't make sound. You can't touch the floor. And then that means, all right, what if a rat comes in? What if he starts to sweat? What if Jean Reno has to sneeze? What if the guy is coming back to the computer? What if Jean Reno's knife falls out of his pocket? So they find everything they can do to go, all right, what can go wrong to make this extra intense?
So the big chunk of the movie is sitting around with a whiteboard and just troubleshooting.
Probably. Yeah, we'll talk more about the set pieces as we go on. While filming the famous scene where Tom Cruise drops in the ceiling...
Oh, wait, that was behind the scenes. Okay, I understand. Yeah.
When he was filming the scene, Cruise's head kept hitting the floor when he got moving down. Like, I think just the weight distribution. So he got the idea, apparently, to put coins in his shoes for balance. I'm not quite sure how that works.
He's got a small head, doesn't he?
How many
Famously
coins you'd
small
have
head.
to
No,
put?
he's got a big head. So you'd have to have a lot of coins.
How many coins do you think were you rattling around in your shoes to...
What in the hell?
Yeah.
Coins in the shoes, that'll balance it out.
Yeah, coins in the
Great
shoes.
call, Tom. Why didn't any of us think of that? All right, let's get some coins for Mr. Cruise's shoes.
Not like ankle weights or something?
No, coins.
Coins in the shoes.
I need two 50-cent pieces.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. And I'm balanced.
I want to tell you, every move I tell you one of the cool spy moves. In this one of my favorite ones is like when Ethan Hunt is hiding out after running away from Kittredge, he finds an apartment, and when he's going in there, he takes a bulb off the light in the hallway leading up to the apartment, breaks the light bulb, and then moves it along the hallway so he'll be able to hear the crunch of anyone's feet would they approach.
Because there were no cornflakes handy.
Yeah, the cornflakes are much harder, and I think it would be less cool if we saw a scene where he bought some cornflakes.
Yeah. No, I want to see him at the shop, and then he sees the crunchy nut cornflakes, and he's like, perfect.
And then he sees some bubble wrap
He's like,
in the produce
yes.
section.
And then he lines up behind an old lady who's trying to get the exact change. And he's just there, a bit bored. And then
that's when he has his light bulb moment, which is him taking a light bulb.
And also, when she's looking for that exact change, he goes, I'm going to put that in my shoes.
While I'm here, can I get a little change for a 10?
The big finale of this movie is a showdown on a moving train. I think we all like moving train
Love
showdowns.
that. Love that. Love that when a tunnel is coming.
Also, I love any movie where like all the key players are invited to the same place. You know, everyone that has a stake in the movie is like, lured to the same location.
Yeah.
So you've got Skullface there, you've got Kittredge there. They've all been lured there, and they all don't quite know what is going on. We also learn who the mole was, and the mole was Jim Phelps himself. He just pretended to die. Yeah.
This is why he didn't want the original director there. He's like, I'm going to make your hero the villain.
You are 100% right. The original cast response that I'll tell you about, none of them were into it.
I imagine I would have
none of them
hated
liked
that.
the movie because rumor had it as well that they initially were thinking about getting the original cast back to kill him off in Act 1, that they would be the team that gets
would've been
killed off.
cool.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a cool idea. That was just a rumor. No one wanted to go to see the premiere. Only one actor accepted the invitation, and he walked out halfway through, which is probably about when it's revealed who the mole is. And they would have gone, but he's the hero of the whole series, and you've just made him the bad guy, which is a cool move for people that aren't, I guess, in love with that.
It's a bit, it's like an even more full-on Rian Johnson thing, what he did with Star Wars,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Exactly, the fans up in arms, and like I guess people with the Ghostbusters watching the Ghostbusters and be like, they would never be women. What are they doing?
Women can't see ghosts. We all know that. They can only be ghosts.
I remember at the time with all the backlash, Martin Dunlop did a little listicle about the reasons why it won't work to gender swap. And one of the reasons was, how are they going to do the scene where Bill Murray takes his balls out and makes everyone look at his balls?
A great question. Great question. And then Melissa McCarthy got her balls out.
She made it work.
Yeah.
I've butchered Martin's bit there, but something like that.
I'm sure it was incredibly funny.
So this is actually similar to GoldenEye that came out the year before, that the villain turns out to be a former ally, jaded by the Cold War, jaded by his job, and who we had assumed had died in Act 1. So
Yes.
coincidence? Claire and Krieger also revealed themselves to be working for Phelps. Claire is shot by Phelps before attempting to escape the moving train via a helicopter piloted by Krieger. Hunt manages to leap onto the helicopter from the train and slap some exploding chewing gum onto the helicopter's windscreen. He yells out, "Red light, green light."
That's good.
Even though that no one around him would have been able to hear him.
Doesn't matter. It's very good.
He goes, "Red light," and then slaps it down, "Green light." And then, you've got Jean Reno looking at that going, and you hope he knows
Yeah.
also what exploding chewing gum looks like, because he wasn't there when that was explained in
Right.
Act 1. But I guess he might just know, or he might be like, why is he putting gum on the... Does he think that's going to obscure my vision or something, that I won't be able to see it?
It's covering a tiny amount. It's a speck.
I can still see what's
Is he
going
saying
on.
I've got
Easy.
bad breath? Is this
Because
subtle
I
hint?
just brushed.
I always brush before a mission. And then Jim Phelps also gets... He's holding on to the bottom of the helicopter at the time because he's trying to escape. And quite graphically shows him as the helicopter crashes, sort of grinding him into the ground. So that's also a moment that the original cast probably wouldn't have enjoyed.
Yeah, what a way to go, the hero.
Real tribute to the old cast. Bit of trivia, Bing Rames was going to be killed off in Act 3 on the train, but this was changed in the script when Bing Rames asked David Koepp, "Why does the black guy always got to die?" And they went,
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's dying, but
yeah, interesting. Yeah, good point.
that was that question led to him getting, 8 more films?
Yes, he is in every one of them.
So it doesn't hurt to
Great.
just raise those questions.
Great
you know?
question.
Yeah.
You could be giving yourself a lot more work.
Exactly. Why miss out on
And I imagine
work?
he keeps getting the jobs because he's very good and people love him. And it's actually, they might have realised it's actually nice to have some continuity between films.
Yeah.
I
Rather
like
than
that
killing
too,
everyone
yeah.
each
The
time.
Marvel movies are bad for this. They kill off the villains every time, and then you're like, oh, well, now you can't bring them back in interesting ways. Like, they're just dead, and you're always having to reset.
Take him to Gotham prison
Yeah, exactly.
and wait for him to escape.
Let him break out.
Yeah.
So let's jump into Mission Impossible 2, the year 2000.
Ooh.
Where were you guys in the year 2000?
I was awaiting a family trip to Sydney to view the Olympic Games.
And
Interesting.
I
then
was
no,
at
I'm not
Olympic
done.
Station. I was at Olympic Stadium, hanging from a wire, singing a song as a 14-year-old girl.
Wow, a twist.
Okay.
You've lived a life.
Beat that.
No, back to mine.
Well, you might have seen me there.
I didn't see you there because I didn't get to go because I got chickenpox
Oh, no.
the week before the Olympics. So my brother and my dad went, and Mum and I had to stay home. So I missed the Olympics.
Did your mum have chickenpox too?
Nah, just me.
Oh, that's a sad story.
Sad
Well,
story, but a good mum.
speaking
Good
of
mum.
Sydney, guess where Mission Impossible 2 was mostly filmed?
Yeah, this is
Los
the bad
Angeles?
one as well, right?
This is the worst. I'll spend the least amount of time on this. So don't
Okay.
think that every one of them is going to be equally the same length.
Was is this the? I'm trying to think which one had the Metallica song.
That's a great question. I did write down. I think this might have been the Bono one, or maybe they might have done the first two, The Edge, and one of the other members of U2 did the first one. This might have been Limp Bizkit, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That feels very 2000.
And that, because they like Fred Durst sort of sang or rapped over a version of the theme, right?
Yeah, it's embarrassing. This whole movie sucks. Well,
It's a shame
fun.
it's the Aussie one, and it's
Yeah.
also got who was in Rake? Who stars in Rake?
Oh, a bit of Richard Roxburgh.
Richard Roxburgh is in it.
Rake himself. So I think this is a result of the Matrix era, where every movie had to be cool now. Like, we wanted a cool movie, and I think, like, I would have been 12-ish by this time, and I wanted every movie to be cool as
Yeah.
well. I was thrilled to see Ethan Hunt with sunglasses on now. So, like, it's like, what if Ethan Hunt was a mountain climber that did kung fu? What if his mission was sent to him in a little missile that had a pair of Ray-Bans in them with a little microphone? What if Ethan Hunt had a sort of wavy mullet thing now? That's what if John Woo directed it?
Look,
Cool.
I said this is the only bad one. I've taken that back. This sounds amazing.
Sounds incredible.
It is a lot of fun. Like, it's very silly, and I love a light film. There's slow-mo and there's pigeons. Apparently his first cut of the movie was 3.5 hours. I always find that when, like, they release that sort of trivia sort of strange. It's like, you've done a bad job if that was your first cut. Like, no
Yeah.
movie should be that long. I assume it was mostly slow-mo.
And pigeons.
Cruise's goal was to have each movie be sort of episodic, so it would have a different style, which sort of makes sense, but having a different director. This movie was written by Robert Town, who was a writer on Chinatown and apparently a contributor to the first Mission Impossible movie. The wiki synopsis: Ethan goes back in action and works with professional thief Nia Nordoff Hall, which is played by I want to nail this, Tandyway Newton, an Australian Billy Baird, the duo go undercover to stop rogue IMF agent Sean Ambrose, probably the shittiest villain name, Ambrose.
Yeah.
He's also Naya's former lover, from stealing a deadly virus, starting a pandemic,
What?
and selling the antidote to the highest bidder.
Maybe this is why I didn't like watching this movie in lockdown.
Yeah, the whole idea is, like, if I can create a huge pandemic but also have the cure to the pandemic,
Money, money, money.
then I'm a genius.
I mean, isn't that also the
Story of Big Pharma.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that also the story of Big Pharma and also Kingsman 2?
I think that happened.
Electric
yeah, that's
Boogaloo.
true. Yeah,
It's not necessarily a pandemic.
I like
but
the
it's
Kingsman movies. They're
I
fun.
like 'em
See,
too.
they're freaking romp.
They
But-
are wrong.
And they're so silly, but they're fun.
So
and
silly.
the
Should
latest
we
one was
stop this and just go
particularly
watch a
silly.
romp?
Yeah, let's go watch a romp. Let's just hang out.
And the way they introduced Hitler at the end of the last one.
Oh, that was weird.
It was
that
so
was
bad.
so strange.
But
As a
I
mid-credit
laughed so
scene.
big. It was so. I've not
mean-
laughed that loud in public in a long time.
I assume they were having fun.
Yeah,
they must have
obviously
been
having
having
fun, yeah.
because That was so strange.
Colin Firth just kicking the shit out of people.
It's good
I'll
fun.
watch that any day.
It was basically like, let's do a Marvel character reveal, but it's Hitler.
Yeah,
so funny.
It was amazing. So the payday for Tom Cruise apparently was $75 million.
Oh.
You make good money if you're the producer. You're like, oh, what if the most of the money was spent on me?
Wow.
This is the only film in the series where Ethan Hunt doesn't go on the run and instead just does a mission for the IMF. This is the only one where he's
Wow.
just doing a mission.
He's not falsely accused sort of thing.
Yeah,
How
he's not
many
falsely
times-
accused or having to go on the run or, shadow operative mode.
How many times do you have to be falsely accused of something, prove you didn't do it, until people are just like, I reckon maybe Ethan didn't do it.
Yeah. He's the boy who didn't cry wolf.
Yeah. He's working so hard for his peers to just, like, treat him as an equal.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
sometimes he's on the run because they think he is on the run. Sometimes they're pretending he's a ghost operative or whatever. So sometimes it's deliberate. It's spy stuff.
Yeah,
It's
spy stuff. Yeah.
As I said, this one has a lot of Australia in it. The Outback, the Opera House, the Randwick Race Course. It's very tacky. I find watching Australia on screen is often it's not very filmic. I think.
Have you watched Lost?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of like flashbacks are in Sydney
Yeah, it
or in
feels strange.
Australia, and
Yeah.
the opera house is in the background of every scene.
It
Just
doesn't
to
feel
make
like
it-
I'm watching a show. It
Yeah.
takes me out of it.
It just to make it nice and clear that this particular scene is happening in Australia. Oh, look
You
at
got to
that
put
opera house behind it.
Uluru or
Oh,
Sydney
it's
Harbour in
so
it.
It's
funny.
got to be an Outback.
Because
Yeah.
in this movie they did that where it was like cut from Sydney Harbour and to the red
Yeah.
dust of the outback.
Yeah,
as
like
if
their
they
hideout
just-
is in there.
Yeah.
They're so far away from each
But
other.
it's the kind of thing that's not going to worry anyone else,
No,
I
no,
guess.
no, no.
But it just takes you out of it because
Oh,
it's a
totally.
bit silly.
But yeah, no,
I mean,
it's
this
just-
is a super silly movie anyway.
But like with Lost, it didn't matter which character it was. No matter where they were in every scene, they were always right by the opera house.
You would have hated water rats because
Yeah.
every crime was happening. They were big crimes that the water police wouldn't normally handle, murders, but they would be happening under the Sydney Harbour
Yeah,
Bridge
every
or on the
time.
steps of the Opera House.
It's good for tourism.
And I love that bridge. Oh my God, do I love
You
that
fucking
frickin'
love
bridge.
that
But you
bridge.
can't see it from every house in Sydney.
So it seems like Tom Cruise wanted to be closer to Nicole. This was during the Kidman era. This was also the highest grossing movie of 2000, beating
Really?
Gladiator and Castaway.
Wow.
So the team in this one, Luther is back with new additions. Nia Hall, as I say, by Tandy Wayne Newton and Australian Billy Baird, who I mentioned. The cable guy moment of this one, Tom Cruise jumps off a helicopter this time into a building and finishes with that. I call it like a starfish move.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's a good little bit of imagery.
Yep.
As I say, this is a post-Matrix movie. It's made for 12-year-olds. He does kung fu. There's ludicrous kick flips off the ground. He is sort of a member of the A-Team or Charlie's Angels now. All of a sudden, like he literally has moments where he's beating up tons of bad guys and can leap off the ground, full backflip kick, and that person's defeated. And it's bizarre. Like, where did these skills suddenly come from?
He didn't smirk, though, I hope.
There's no smirking at all.
I hope there's no character development.
There's very little character. I mean,
Good.
he's got a love interest. Apparently, him and Claire were going to have a love thing in the first movie. They were going to make love on a train. The most romantic place to make love.
Could not
That's a
agree
great
more. It's already
euphemism
rocking.
as well, right? Train going into a tunnel, isn't that?
Yeah,
that's an
all
old school
beautiful.
euphemism.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Visual euphemism.
That's nice.
And what about when the train comes out of the tunnel?
Oh, well, and then in again, and then out again, and then in again.
It's a very confusing journey.
Am I remembering it right that at one point he basically throws a motorbike at another motorbike? Or
So-
rides a motorbike or something?
You have beautifully timed this. So in the final showdown, like him and the villain Ambrose, which is a name that would send a shiver up anyone's spine.
Yeah, spooky.
I mean, it's the name of a different way to score golf. It's like you couldn't get anything more pedestrian than that, could you?
So they both ride their bikes at each other. Before the bikes hit, they dive off their bikes. So they collide in the air. As they're colliding in the air, they then also sort of go against physics and fly off a cliff together into some sort of softer sand. So this is classic John Woo, heightened action. Tom Cruise also said he was very much inspired by Bruce Lee movies and wanted to do a bit of Bruce Lee action as well.
I know the name John Woo. What other film? What's his famous film?
He's done I haven't seen a ton of John Woo, but he's done movies with Chow Yun-fat, like the Hard Boiled series, which is a lot of Chow Yun doing dual wielding guns and shooting them.
So this is classic Woo.
This is classic Woo action. Yeah. Hard Boiled, I believe, is the series. If anyone's yelling at their iPod right now,
I would hope so.
I apologize if I get any of the actors wrong.
I'd be underestimating our listenership. Underestimating.
So this movie also has so many masks. This movie does the masks to death. Okay,
Right.
This is the highest amount of masks. So Ambrose wears an Ethan Hunt mask. Stamp, who's Richard Roxburgh, wears an Ethan mask, and Ethan wears both a Stamp mask and another guy's mask, Nikarovich mask. So there's so much mask wearing and so many dramatic mask uses. I have to talk about this part, okay? It's because it's so ridiculous. So there's this scene. Tom Cruise is fighting Richard Roxburgh, and we cut to the villain's lair. So we cut away from the fight. We know that they're fighting down the hall from this room where the villain Ambrose is. And then Richard Roxburgh comes in with Ethan Hunt, and he's got his mouth is taped up. So you're like, oh, Ethan Hunt can't talk, and Richard Roxburgh's got him. You're like, oh, how's Ethan Hunt going to get out of this one? And Ambrose starts kicking Ethan Hunt. And he's like, yeah, I've got you now. Well done, Richard Roxburgh. And then he shoots Ethan Hunt, and you're like, whoa, Ethan Hunt's dead. This is crazy. But then suddenly Ambrose is like, wait a second. And he pulls back to realize that that Hunt is actually Richard Roxburgh underneath.
Yes.
He just killed someone in cold blood.
Yeah.
Taped and bound.
So somehow off screen, this means that Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt was able to defeat Richard Roxburgh, and then had two masks available, one of Richard Roxburgh's face and one of his own face.
Which we find out in one of the movies take a long time to 3D print.
Yeah. And was able to make that. I don't know where he puts these masks. He doesn't look like he has a big backpack or anything like that. So, and how quickly you're able to also swap clothes.
What year was it? 2000? Probably cargo shorts.
And also, swap clothes. And it also means anyone you've ever swapped faces with, you're just very lucky that they have similar frames and builds to you as well.
Yeah, true.
Some of the movies, they have extra padding that they've put on when they have a different frame, but most of the time it's just pure luck that they're able to go, oh, we happen to be the exact same height. We're nailing it.
Nobody's going to be all that sus.
I'm starting to wonder if Jim Carrey was a big influence for these films. We got the Cable Guy, we got the Mask.
Oh, this is true.
What else have we got here?
That's an excellent point.
Liar, liar.
Yeah, they're all liars.
They're all liars. That's a good point. That's an excellent point.
Yeah,
very good. Truman Show is also a film.
Yeah, they're filming it in the Truman Show.
Just to highlight some of the stunts as well and how dumb Tom Cruise is. There's a scene where they wanted this shot where the villain has a knife going towards Tom Cruise's eye. That Ethan Hunt stops at the last moment, and rather than using CGI or camera trickery, Tom Cruise was like, "Oh, let's put a cable attached to that knife, and then you can stab it at me as hard as you want, and the camera and the cable will just stop it from going into my eye, so we can get this shot where it looks like this knife is only a few centimeters away from my eye because it actually was."
Because one of his things, John Woo, is hyper realism, isn't it?
I think it's hyper-violent.
Hyper-violent.
But
it's all very believable stuff, is what I mean. It's real in terms of, yes, this is pretty gritty.
This is really happening.
This is grounded.
Yes,
that Spike, I could believe that Spike really did that.
A little bit of trivia. The villain, Ambrose, played by Doug Ray Scott, was going to be...
Doug Ray.
As in... That's his first name, Doug Ray.
Oh, my God, that is a great name. You've taken Doug, an already fantastic
I've always
name.
wondered what Doug was short for. Doug Ray.
He was going to be Wolverine, but lost the role because he was busy with this. He had
wow.
he had an injury, and filming went over time.
That's a big sliding doors moment.
Doug
Yes,
Ray.
indeed. He could have been Wolverine, but instead he went on to a glittering career in films such as Taken 3 and Death Race: Inferno.
I
So
know
he
him.
also...
yeah.
He's had a big
he's-
career.
yeah.
He's been in a lot of things.
He's fine.
But he's not...
I'd say
not
he's
Wolverine.
probably, to me, if I could pick one of those careers, I'd take his.
Over Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, he can't, he's so recognizable and well known, right? This guy he could get around still and
This is true.
and just be making movies, doing what he loves.
Yeah, and if you
That's
said...
why
"Oh,
I'm never going to be a
Yeah.
superstar, because I'm choosing not to be.
Yeah,
that's
I don't
me
want
too.
it. I don't want it. Not for me.
If
thanks.
you're a Hollywood producer listening to this and you're like, I think I might give Marcel a movie, don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Don't do
Unless
it.
it's a bit part or a mask part.
Wacky Waiter, I'll do.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
happy to
you'd be
do
great
Wacky
at
Waiter.
Wacky Waiter.
Yeah.
I would do average looking funny friend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I could do that. Like, I'm the friend of an incredibly beautiful
That is
woman.
easily the best role anyway, I reckon.
It's always the best
What
That's
role.
the
about
best
what
role.
about quirky concierge at a hotel?
You?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you think you could do quirky?
a female concierge?
Oh, we'd call it lady concierge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I could do that. Yeah.
Concierge, yes.
I'm wearing a blazer. I've got the shoulders for a blazer, so yes, absolutely. Yeah, okay, I could do that. Yeah.
I don't have that role.
Oh,
But
okay,
if it
cool.
comes across my
She'll
desk.
take
Let me
it.
know. Let me know. I
Jess
think,
accepts.
but I think because I think I could see you as a concierge very much so.
Thank you.
So I think maybe like if I'm the quirky concierge, you could be my supervisor or something.
Yeah, you've
Or
got
a
real
bellboy. Two
Oh,
old
you in a
bellboy.
little hat?
Yeah, a little hat.
You would look so cute in a little hat.
You
You.
could have a little monkey sidekick.
I like
don't
that. Name Marcel.
I haven't been
Friends.
to many hotels, but is that a normal thing?
Monkey sidekick.
Monkey, I guess it depends on the country and how quirky the filmmaker is.
At least a 4-star.
Like, what is this, a
5-star.
Wes Anderson film?
Yeah.
See, I'm just trying to work it back into my other podcast, Primates, I suppose. I didn't realize I was doing that until it was too late.
Oh, well, this is like a backdoor episode of Primates. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome to another episode. Let's jump on. What's the name of this show? Jump on with it.
Yeah.
Jump on with it.
Jump on with it.
Please, Marcel, do jump on with it.
Jump on it. Mission Impossible 3, the year 2006.
Oh, a bit of a
we've
gap.
We've jumped a little while. So 2006, that was my last year of high school, I believe.
Yep.
What were you guys doing in 2006?
I was completing my 150th year of my arts degree and doing a bloody good job of it.
Oh, well
Yeah.
done.
thank you.
Congratulations.
I was in year 10 and I was on the year 10 ski camp, which also coincided with my 16th birthday. So my parents let me go, probably so they didn't have to give me a present. And I hated skiing. And a snowboarder hit me as he fell down and slid down the mountain as I skied across. He hit me. We went flying. My skis went flying. And then I went and had a hot chocolate.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, the hot chocolate was really lovely.
Après. Is that après? What is it? Après skiing or something? Someone told
A lot of
I've
French
never really
references
been
here. Yeah.
skiing before, but there's some word that ski people use for drinking after
Can you,
skiing.
are you
I
allowed to
see.
say ski people if you're not a ski person?
Oh, good point.
Gosh.
Very good person. Very good point.
Goodness gracious. I just, edit point here.
2006 was the first year I went overseas.
Interesting.
Oh man, I loved
that's
going
cool.
overseas.
That's
Want to
really
do it
Overseas.
again?
Imagine going overseas. So why the long gap? The studio was hoping for a summer to possible holiday season 2002 release. So there was the idea that
yeah.
let's keep this going, but Cruise had other things on, and he also didn't want people to get burned out by the franchise.
And everyone didn't it get bad reviews, but it made so much money, I guess.
I think it went very well. I mean, if they wanted to make another one, it must have done pretty well. I didn't look at quite about what the critical reception, but I'm sure if you look up the Rotten Tomatoes score, it probably must be
It's
the
the lower
lowest
one.
one.
But like you said, it was the biggest grossing film. The second one was still the biggest of the year.
Yeah.
It's done fine.
And in Hollywood, we go by a saying, money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah, and also the movie Money Talks as well.
Yeah.
with Chris
Well,
Tucker.
that's what
Yeah.
that's referencing.
If this movie isn't on par with Money Talks with Chris Tucker, then I don't want to hear about it. The release date was then moved to summer 2005 because of War of the Worlds coming out.
That movie I hated.
Oh, you didn't like that movie?
I remember it. Yeah, I just remember being like, and I like Tom Cruise, but I don't know. Is it good? I haven't seen it since, but I went to the cinemas and I remember just hating it the whole time.
I encourage a rewatch. I think a lot of people was left with a sour taste in their mouth because the ending is a little bit too romanticized and idyllic.
Oh, okay.
But like the rest of the movie, it's pure Spielberg. It's a thrill ride.
Oh, right.
Is it a romp?
I love rompy
I don't know
Spielberg.
if I'd call it a romp because it's pretty dark. It's probably too dark to be a romp. I feel like a romp requires a little bit of lightness and not feeling like these characters could die at any moment.
And that it doesn't really matter when they do.
Yeah.
People die in romps, but you're not mourning them.
Yeah, like in The Mummy when that scarab goes into that guy's head or whatever. Like that's
a
funny.
little bit cartoony.
Yeah. He runs into a wall and you're like, I can't remember that guy's name.
Who else we got? What else we doing? I'm talking out loud in the cinema. All right, next. That was good. What else?
Next. Do jump on it. This is a new era. I think it's interesting, because these movies have been made for such a long time. This is post 9/11 Mission Impossible.
Oh, that's a good point. Everything changed when those two towers came down. So this would be very different.
This is post Bourne. This is the same year as Casino Royale. Kanye is on the soundtrack. There was a lot of
Kanye. I didn't realize he's been around. Really?
Yeah, early Kanye.
He's been around for 15 plus years.
Mm-hmm. He's got an illustrious career.
Wow.
And I hope I've got that right. I mean, he could have been on the next one, but I'm pretty sure he was on this one. Potential versions that were floated around in those 6 years. David Fincher wanted to do an R-rated version set in Africa around organ trafficking, which doesn't feel very Mission Impossible.
No.
Yeah, and if you're going to get R-rated, I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, what are we going to do?
Tits and
Nude?
bits.
Nude Mission Impossible? Oh, we're going to see guts and butts. Give me tits and bits any day.
Guts and butts. I've never heard that before.
Well, I think it's never been said before.
Guts and butts. I want that like in the TV guide when you're looking to see if anything lewd is on that night.
G&B. You're like, all right.
There was a version also set around the idea of like private military in Africa. Kenneth Branagh was going to be the villain at one point.
Great villain.
Frank Darabont of the Shawshank Redemption wrote a version. There was also a prequel version that was thrown around with Emilio coming back.
Oh.
I don't know why there'd be any interest of like set before the first movie. But who cares? I thought that would be a strange move to be like, let's get Emilio back in here for some reason.
Had Mighty Ducks 3 just really taken off?
It really, maybe he was just like whispering in people's ears, what if we brought Emilio back? It was just him trying to get that in people's head. One version had attacks on iconic landmarks around the world, and I think that one was like, oh, wait a second, does this...
Attacks, not a tax, which is what I heard. Very financially minded.
Ethan, we've got to stop these tax.
I heard tax also.
Thank you so much for clarifying. J.J. Abrams was brought on as the new director as a result of Tom Cruise enjoying the TV show Alias. You guys fans?
Oh.
I didn't see a lot, but it feels like Alias was probably inspired a bit by
for sure.
Mission Impossible.
So this is effectively a bit of a reboot. This is a bit like what Fast and the Furious did after Tokyo Drift. Like, let's do a bit of a reset. Let's get this back on track. Ethan has lost his Neo powers. There's no explanation. He doesn't hit his head and go, oh, I forgot how to backflip. Like, it's just never mentioned. His main superpower, I think some people still see him as like a superhero of sorts. Yeah. I'd say his superhero power is luck. Yeah, and tenacity. Like he just I'm going to go for it, and it happens to
and he
work
never
out.
Dies. Yeah, whatever he does comes off in the end.
He never dies, but also some of the later films more injuring him. But it's rarely to that sort of John McClane sort of level of how is he surviving this thing? It's because usually it's I just made it, rather than I got shot 17 times and I'm okay. So, wiki synopsis of this one. Ethan is engaged to Julia Mead, played by Michelle Monaghan, who is unaware of his true job. He assembles a team to face the elusive arms and information broker Owen Davian.
I think this one is this the one that starts at a house party? So we see a bit of his private life there, and he's playing just average guy. So yeah, the old crew would have been hating
They
that.
would have been hating it. We don't want to see anything at your house. We
I don't
want to
see
your
him
house.
passing the dip.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is the villain, R.I.P.
Oh, great villain.
Great villain. He intends to sell a mysterious, dangerous object known as the rabbit's foot. Ooh. Does that sound dangerous
Rabbits are
enough?
cute. Rabbits are cute.
Rabbits are cute. That's
Yeah,
true.
and that's a symbol of luck.
Yeah,
Which
it's a
you
good
think
point.
that Ethan Hawke would love.
Ethan Hawke
I don't know why
loves
that's
luck.
relevant here, but
So there was a choice to give Ethan more emotional stakes. So this movie, before the house party scene, it opens with a flash forward of later in the movie. We see his wife is tied up, gun to her head. Philip Seymour Hoffman's character has the gun to her head and is giving Ethan a countdown, like, tell me where the rabbit's foot is or she's going to die. And we hear a gunshot, and then we cut to
you're
earlier.
probably wondering, how do we get here?
Yeah.
Whoa. Let's slow
Do
down.
a rewind
Record
sound?
scratch.
Yeah.
Love that
6
move.
months earlier.
So, yeah, he is one of the best villains of the series. And I like the idea, after how silly the second one was, like, opening a movie like that is like your wife is getting shot in the head. It's like, all right, this isn't your grandpa's
Mission
Impossible movie. All right, this is real. And it's sort of growing up with the kids who started watching it, I guess, in the 90s as well. The new team. At one point, Ricky Gervais was cast as the film as an ally to Ethan Hunt. He was going to be the man in the chair, but then that movie role went to Simon Pegg.
I love Simon Pegg.
I love
so good.
he's one of the best new characters in this series, and he
He's so
continues
good. Yeah.
in the rest of it. I would hate to live in the universe where Ricky Gervais got cast in this role. I think that would be the worst shit.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been good.
I think because in this movie, Benji is just a small character. He comes in like twice as just like the guy on the other end of the phone.
Man in the van.
Man in the van. But I reckon Gervais wouldn't have then been moved into the team. I don't think that would have happened.
He would have insisted on some weird things, and they would have said, oh, actually.
And he's just roasting everyone on the team. It's like, can you not be mean to us? The big stunt is this fulcrum swing in Beijing. He does this huge swing off one building to another.
I know what a fulcrum swim is, but just in case any listeners don't, do you want to break it down for them?
I wrote down fulcrum because this is what they told me in the movie. But like it's essentially a pendulum type swing of like, let's go from one building and I can swing on to the next, which is further away, and like release the cable at the last minute, and I'll be able to
Spider-Man
jump off to
style.
the next thing.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
that's how.
style.
Yeah, basically my understanding as well.
Yeah, and you have that written down to prove that you had that understanding
Yeah,
as well.
I've got the exact same wording.
Yeah, right. So this is also the beginning of more of those layered action sequences. So he like breaks into this building, but then his escape route is parachuting out of that building, and then that falls into a car chase, and then like there's just that beautiful level of but this happens, and then this happens, and what if this happens? And it turns out later on that a lot of these movies continue to just start with just the set pieces being worked out before the script is. So they know, oh, what if we had this sequence? What if we had that sequence? And then they fill in the story later.
Yeah, number 2, it started with the two motorbikes crashing into each other, and they worked out from there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's work our way backwards. How do we get to this point?
So maybe we have a scene set in a motorcycle shop. He's buying a
They could be
motorcycle.
test riding them or
yeah,
something.
that's
Yeah.
good.
And
I
the
wanna
guy
note that
says,
down.
"What you should never run this into a different motorcycle, whatever you do."
Okay.
Yeah. Chekhov's
Chekhov's
warning.
warning.
Yeah.
Chekhov's motorcycle. Every time a motorcycle's introduced in a movie, you know it's going to explode.
I've only recently learned what Chekhov's gun is, and now I am referencing it too much.
Yeah, it's a great
But I
little
love it.
literary
I'm
reference.
like, oh, here we
there.
go. Chekhov's book.
That
Every day.
That book's going to get read.
Someone's going to read that book.
If a book is introduced in Act 1, it's going to be read by Act 3. The cable guy moment, I guess there's two in this one. He climbs onto the wall of the Vatican and then cables off. When he gets on top of the wall, he whispers to himself, "Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall."
Oh, that's right.
For no reason
Oh,
to
that's
nobody.
right. I remember that being very funny as well. That whole sequence was very funny.
That sucks.
It's a real cringy moment, and like it's so out of character for him as
Yeah.
well. It's in
I could
reference
see
to nothing.
James Bond saying that. you know, but
maybe early James Bond.
I was
maybe.
joking,
Who am
but that's
I?
great.
Humpty Dumpty. Sitting on a wall.
I didn't realise how corny James Bond was
Oh.
until I watched the most recent one, and like the Daniel Craig's last one, I guess. I don't know if it is or not, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like just so many of the catchphrases.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
even saying like shaken not stirred, and someone explodes, and there was a clock or something. He's like, I guess it was time to explode, and you know, like
Oh, it's
really,
terrible.
yeah, like lots
They're
of
all like that, though.
But it happens with the James Bond movies. Like, I think Casino Royale is his best one. And then
Yes.
by the time it comes where he's done like 5 of them, it's like, we need to then pull it back
Right.
again. They get too, I don't know, cocky or something.
Yeah.
This movie explains the voice of the mask tech for the first time, which is fun. Like, we see a mask be molded. We see the voice sample being encoded. So there's this cool scene where, like, Tom Cruise has the mask of Davian, of Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, and has him pinned down in this bathroom where, like, his henchmen are outside, and he needs Davian to read this sort of series of phrases in order to encode his voice properly. So it adds more tension to the idea of even stealing someone's voice and identity rather than being able to do it just off camera with no explanation. Like,
Yeah.
now, what if we made that a challenge to do?
Oh, that's cool.
Which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And how did he get Philip Seymour Hoffman to say the phrase?
He just has a gun to his head,
Right.
and he's just. And I think
That'll
Davian,
do it.
Yeah, that should
he's just sort
probably
of doing it because I don't think he was like thinking too many steps ahead of like, oh, he's going to steal my voice
Right.
and therefore be able to.
Yeah, it'd be a weird thing for somebody to hold a gun to your head and be like, read this. I'd be very
Happy
confused.
birthday to you,
Yeah.
Jess. You are one of my closest friends.
If I was Ethan Hawke, I would have used reverse psychology. Bet you can't read this.
Yeah.
But you got to say this 3 times fast.
I can. I bet you can't.
I mean, I've been saying it heaps of times when you weren't around, but anyway.
Yeah, go on, you try.
My mate said that your mates didn't like him. As usual, Tom Cruise did the vast majority of his own stunts. Most of them were done without major injury. However, he cracked a couple of ribs once he turned his upper torso too quickly. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, at work, yeah, all the
Yeah.
time.
When someone wants your attention and you just swing yourself around
Yeah.
immediately.
That's got to be really fast. I don't think I can move fast enough to break my own ribs.
Try it.
Nah. I mean, it hurt.
You moved very quickly, though, I got to say. I've never
Was it
seen you
that
move
he
that
moved
fast.
too fast, or that he moved too early and something hit the ribs?
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, well, as with a lot of things on the internet, they don't always give you much information.
I'm gonna
all
guess
right?
something hit the
Do
ribs.
your own research.
Yeah,
You're
sorry.
listening to a podcast.
Yeah, my bad.
I want to tell you about his new spy power in this movie. Like, each movie, he sort of gets a new spy power. In this one, he can read lips now.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe this is what happens. He loses one, gains one.
Oh,
So
interesting.
he lost kung fu, but he gained lip reading.
Yeah, like some video games, if like you want to upgrade a power, like you have to like take a point out of a different power.
He's only got a certain amount of room in his brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he reveals this power in a creepy way of eavesdropping on a conversation on his wife and her friends at their engagement party. Like, he's over on one side, like helping with a drink, and they're having a conversation across the party in the kitchen, and they can't remember the name of this lake, and he calls out, "Oh, Lake Wanaka," and then her friends are like, "How did he possibly
Yeah,
hear
that
that?"
is.
It's
It's
like,
not how
"Oh,
lip reading works either.
how does it work?
It like you read their lips.
You can't. Yeah. If I
You
was
said that with so much confidence,
Well,
Jess.
it's not like you can't read lips from across a party. That is bullshit.
What about in that Seinfeld episode where they
I
recruit
want to
that?
sweep with you.
Yeah.
I want to sleep. Yeah, like, that would have ruined the whole premise of the bit. She correctly saw that he was saying, I want to sweep with you. They were saying sweep. But they thought it was sleep with you.
It's a fun little
If
moment.
I'm recalling
different
that correctly.
different shape with the mouth.
Before I
those
move on to
letters.
the next film, I should tell you as well, there's this fun little thing about the publicity of this particular film. Paramount rigged 4,500 randomly selected Los Angeles Times vending boxes with digital audio players that would play the theme song when the door was opened. The audio players did not always stay concealed, however, and in many cases came loose and fell on the stack of newspapers in plain view, with the result that they were widely mistaken for bombs.
Oh,
yes.
no.
Police bomb squads detonated a number of the vending boxes and even temporarily shut down a veterans hospital in response to the apparent threat.
Oh, no.
Despite these problems, Paramount and the Los Angeles Times opted to leave the audio players in the boxes until 2 days after the movie's opening.
Well, this is in the 2000s, right? Post 9/11 world,
2006,
people stopped being so stressed about the threat of attacks or bombs or whatever.
I like the idea of just sort of blue tacking these boxes in and being like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
A little
okay.
bit of sticky
As long
tape.
as you can't see them.
Yeah,
it's
make sure
fine.
they're hidden, but not too hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be the last film that Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner collaborated on. This was around the time, apparently Redstone was disgusted by Cruise's recent antics, particularly his appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Oh, my God.
Following that, Cruise and his partner Wagner resurrected the United Artists Company, which had been closed a few years previously. But then, of course, Cruise goes on to produce the rest of the film. So this was in that sort of era when people were a little bit cringy on Cruise.
Yeah.
Cringy on Cruise.
Yeah, I think everyone's sort of gone, it's all right. He's a bit different, but we love him anyway.
I think there was sort of two schools of like, this guy's a bit wacky now or a bit silly, and then they're like, oh, but hold on, is he lovesick or is he just sick?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
But then I think, wasn't it like when he was in... was the Tropic Thunder, and they're like, oh, look at him. He can have fun.
He's funny now. I think he's someone as well, and this is for the Tom Cruise episode, that like his public persona after that had to be like more manicured and curated of like, hey, someone would have he would have had a whole team talk to him and say, this is how you're being perceived. If you want to keep making movies, let's sort of change how you're publicly presenting yourself, I think.
And let Katie Holmes out of the dungeon.
No comment.
Allegedly. Jess alleged that before. Off mic. That's not something I thought.
Jess looks stunned at being
I was
called
like,
out.
did I say that?
Oh,
I'm
sorry. That was one of your secret memories.
You know how it feels when Marcel reveals
I
your
know.
secret memories.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we should all apologize.
I'm sorry.
Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Yes.
2011. We're in a post-Avengers world, and it feels like it. So this is the same year that Fast 5 came out, and like these, sort of makes me wonder if both production companies sort of peeking in each other's test screenings, because they're well and truly romps now. So J.J. Abrams went darker with number 3. It felt more like an Alias episode, but now. New director Brad Bird comes in, who you know from The Incredibles and Ratatouille and various Pixar projects, and does a bit of live action. Okay, so JJ was too busy with his movie Super 8 to direct this one. So they bring in Brad Bird, who just crushes it. Little bit of trivia. Ethan Hunt in character says light the fuse before the opening credits. So then the fuse that actually is lit through the opening credit sequence is actually a fuse, which is a little bit of fun. The iconic fuse bit. And once again, we get that sort of... I find this very strange with the Mission Impossible movies, but I sort of like the novelty of it. We see in the opening sequence shots from the rest of the movie, like it is a TV series. So you are seeing, that's bits of the movie that are coming up later, but it also makes you go, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to see that bit. That's going to be cool.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I think they're edited in just a way that you make you go, I can't wait for that bit, rather than why are they showing me the rest of the movie
interesting.
already.
Is this the one where he has to climb up a wall in a sandstorm?
You are totally right.
I can't believe I'm remembering. I really thought they were all blurred together.
No,
but if you didn't go
nailing it.
one by one, then I probably wouldn't have remembered it.
I should have just done them simultaneously. You're right. I had that idea
You
of
should have
just
done it
saying,
like I watched them, mushed together.
maybe in the editing, can you just have me just talking over myself the entire time?
Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Rather than me talking over you, which is what's actually happening.
So this was written by former Alias writers Josh Applebaum and Andre Nemec. And Christopher McQuarrie, who's a regular Cruise collaborator, who's director of Jack Reacher and writer of Edge of Tomorrow, came in for rewrites. He does his total script doctor style. I listened to interviews with him, and he's one of those guys who can come in and go, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. What about this? Let's change that character's backstory to make it work with the rest of the movie. And in a movie where people are signing on without even seeing a script and there's just set pieces being laid out before there's a story, you need someone that sort of knows narrative to come in and be like, all right, I can make this work.
Is there a script doctor on the plane?
Well, this guy has Act 3 problems. All right, so the synopsis of this one. Ethan and the entire IMF are blamed for the bombing of the Kremlin while investigating an individual known only as Cobalt.
See, Cobalt's better than Max.
Cobalt's good. And it's better than Ambrose as
Much
well.
better.
He and 3 other agents are left to stop him from starting a global nuclear war. So a pretty big deal. So this guy Cobalt, his name is Kurt Hendricks, like that's his actual character name. He's played by Michael. I never learned how to say this name. Nyqvist. You want to have a go at this?
Oh, NYQ.
Ninkvist?
Nickvist, maybe.
Nickvist?
Is the Q a hard K sound? Maybe.
So, what else could a Q be said?
Qua.
Or silently? Could be skipped over altogether.
Nyquist. Nivist, maybe. Here's the guy he's the hero, one of the characters in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. So this follows that sort of James Bond tradition where like someone who's in a good European movie gets plucked out and can play a villain in an upcoming action film, which is always good fun. So he wants nuclear weapons to sort of reset the world. I feel like a lot of the Mission Impossible villains pretty much from this movie on have like a let's blow up the world and we'll reset it and that will be sort of a peace in our time sort of motivation. That's pretty much the blanket idea that like the world's bad and I'm going to be the one to
Noah's
blow it
Ark
up. And,
sort of thing.
Yeah, and we need to have a big explosion in order to reset the world.
Now, it's been a while since I heard the story. Is that what happens in the Noah's Ark story? God goes, let's blow it up.
Nuclear weapons.
Nuclear weapons.
God steals the nuclear codes and gives them to Noah. Yeah. And he has to put a team together that's 2 of every animal.
2 of every animal is his crime-fighting team.
I just thought of a great
Noah's
screenplay
a bit
idea.
of a
Copyright.
Yeah, no, that's saved it.
I think that's legally binding.
Yep.
Before anyone else, if anyone else is out there doing Noah's Ark, Mission Impossible movie, I've got you. Time-stamped. So the idea here is make this more of a team movie. So you've got Simon Pegg on the away missions now. He's doing a bit of comic relief and also a bit of tension because he's sort of like playing the role of like, still figuring it out.
He just got his agent license or something.
He just got his agent license. So he's not an idiot though. Like he's not just like, oh, I'm dropping stuff all the time. But like he's still imperfect and he wants to make Ethan proud. He's it's sort of the apprentice role.
Because it's revealed that Ethan's his dad, isn't it?
What a twist. What's the age difference? Jeremy Renner is brought in. He plays a character called Analyst Brandt. So Brandt was maybe considered to be maybe a future Hunt, like pass the torch to him in future movies. I don't think he's young enough to have many more movies in him.
Didn't they tried that with Renner on the Bourne movies as well, didn't they?
That's a good point. I guess Renner was just like, hey, this guy looks like he get to hold a torch, I suppose. Pass him the torch.
It turns out he can't.
He cannot. That Bourne movie was no good. Other actors considered were Tom Hardy and Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie, also an Avenger.
Who's Anthony Mackie?
He is Falcon.
Yeah.
He's
also Captain America now, I should say.
Pardon
my French.
He's in Endgame when Cap's there all by himself, and then he hears Sam, and Sam says, "On your left."
Oh, it's a beautiful moment. I didn't know you were a big Avengers person.
Sometimes I watch that scene on YouTube just to have a cry.
Yeah, it's a beautiful moment.
Oh my God, I
was
love it so much.
Swept up in the cinema. I was swept up.
Loved it.
I was like, this is a thrill.
Oh, love it. Love the Avengers.
Am I thinking of the right guys also in that Seth Rogen Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, I like that guy.
He's great.
What's that called? The Night Before or something?
Yeah. Started that as one of my many Christmas traditions, watching that each year.
Is it worth it?
I like it, but I'm very sentimental around Christmas.
He loves Christmas.
Do you like It's a Wonderful Life?
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a delight.
Worth a look.
All the money is in Bill's house and
Uncle
Fred's
Jimmy.
house. Yeah.
That's right.
What do you do with my money in your house, Fred? Yeah, it's good stuff. Paula Patton is brought in. She's Agent Jane Carter. She also has demons like Agent Brandt does as a fellow Agent Hanaway, Sawyer from Lost.
Oh,
as mentioned earlier.
Sawyer.
Agent Carter, you said. You were saying they were ripping off Marvel a bit.
Yeah, she is Agent Carter. That is 100% correct. And I feel like Carter is one of the most overused last names in movie shows as well. We like Rush Hour.
Yeah.
He's a Carter as well. Luther is back, but he is only a cameo at the end of the movie. He just sort of rocks up to be like, "What just happened?"
Oh yeah, just to make sure he keeps his run.
Yeah, just to be there. I don't know the explanation for why. I think maybe just creatively they were like, "Oh, if Luther's here, that's gonna then like it's not gonna be as tricky for them to figure things out or whatever." I think that this one, Brad Bird wanted to go, I want to do a Mission Impossible movie where like all the gadgets and stuff mess up, so like not everything's going to go to plan like pretty much the whole time, to always have that challenge. So yeah, Jeremy Renner signed on without seeing a script. There's less masks in this one, which is delightful to see. So there's more performances. Once again, Tom Cruise just happens to look like the Russian general that he's impersonating to get into the Kremlin. So he just puts on a false nose and like a false chin sort of thing. And Benji, who's accompanying him, has no disguise at all for some reason.
Sure.
He just has the uniform.
That's all you need.
And Benji says, "I wish we had masks," and Hunt offers no explanations for why they're not wearing masks. It feels like maybe there was an explanation, but they decided to we're not going to mention why we're not wearing these masks that are always perfect and always convince everyone. I'm just going to wear this false nose because I've nailed this.
Yeah.
I've just looked up why Luther wasn't in Ghost Protocol.
Okay, I thought you were just checking your Instagram.
I am a rude arsehole for sure, but I was also doing that. Says, in an interview with MovieWeb, Rames implied that due to budget cuts, he had a smaller role in the film.
Really?
I may be doing something very small in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, but I will just say that the budget changed dramatically, and I'll leave it at that.
Interesting.
So I think he's saying he got cut out. That sort of is that implying that then after he got cut down, the budget seemed to get bigger again, or is that just him saying they gave him a huge pay cut?
There is a lot that like signs that they were pretty conservative with this movie, because like even though the film series really takes off from here in terms of like the DNA of what makes a Mission Impossible movie, the third movie I think did okay, but they were still like, we want this to be a sure thing, so they weren't throwing a ton of movie at it. I suspect then they were like, here's how much we can pay you, Ving Rhames, and he went, well, that's good enough for me with
the
one
end credit scene.
Yeah, I can do one scene for that money. New spy power from Ethan Hunt. He is now an excellent drawer. So in a scene where he's in the back seat of a car with Jeremy Renner and the new director of IMF, he's seen the villain. He's seen Cobalt when he was at the Kremlin. So as he's drawing on his hand with just a Bic pen, he sort of says, "Oh, this guy's got brown hair and this color eyes," and then just holds up his hand to Jeremy Renner's character, and Jeremy Renner goes, "It's a crude drawing, but that might be Kurt Hendricks." So Ethan Hunt has the ability to just quickly, and it's like
That's
immediately
incredible.
Just quickly sketched it in a matter of seconds.
And Renner's got the ability to see a photo in a crude picture.
Yeah, he's just, and he knows all the Hendrickses out there. He knows all the potential villains.
Jimmy.
I know all
This
of
goes on.
But I love as well that he also sort of negs him a little bit. He goes, crude drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been better
But
if it was
you've
on
nailed
paper.
it. Crude drawing, but I know exactly who that is.
I like the fact as well that he's got one pen and he's just like drawing it out, and then he turns it around and it's in colour. All these different guys got the
It's
brown
like
hair and green eyes.
Yeah, and just watercolors
Yeah,
as well.
it's beautiful.
This is a fun little Easter egg. So we all know that the message will self-destruct in 5 seconds
Yeah.
thing. In this time, the director is giving him the mission in the back of the card and says, hey, we're going to have to initiate Ghost Protocol because they think that you destroyed the Kremlin, so we can't really tell you, put you on this mission. But if you were to beat me up and run away, then you could sort of do this mission as a ghost. But at that time, suddenly the director gets shot and the car gets run into, and thus the message truly did self-destruct in 5 seconds from receiving the mission.
Wow.
So he himself sort of destructed,
Whoa.
which is a bit of fun.
Is the shadow in this one Alec Baldwin?
Alec Baldwin's in the next one.
The next one, right.
And he's not playing the shadow, but
Oh, okay.
it's not the same,
crossover?
not the same universe. I wish it was. I think the shadow would be amazing to pop up in anything. But that's just me. So this is a real roller coaster movie. The action sequences sort of keep coming and coming. So this is the one where he climbs the Burj Khalifa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Wiz Khalifa.
Oh, sorry, the Wiz Khalifa. He climbs that musician, I want to say. I'm hip. I'm with it.
It's a very topical reference too. So
And like this scene is amazing. Like this encapsulates later Mission Impossible movies where you've got a million things going on, a million things going wrong. The idea being, oh shit, you're gonna have to climb outside of the building. We didn't plan for that. Meanwhile, the assassin is meeting the broker on this floor, but we're gonna pretend to be meeting them on the floor underneath. So we're gonna be listening into that one.
Oh, great scene.
Jeremy Renner's going to wear a contact lens that can photograph these nuclear codes, but also send those nuclear codes to a printer inside this briefcase that's going to print out the nuclear codes upstairs to the other meeting going on.
And we're hoping that they haven't met this person before because there's no mask right in this one.
Yeah, there's
so
no
just fully
the mask
bluffing
thing. The mask machine breaks at the last minute. So everything's going wrong. And then there's a dust storm on the horizon. Then there's a chase sequence after that. It's all amazingly
Is there a
orchestrated.
red light, green light callback with the suction cups thing? Is that referencing itself?
I believe it's blue is blue and red is dead.
That's
so
right.
as he's climbing up the building with these gloves these magic gloves, blue is glue, red is
Red is
dead.
dead.
Yeah, and of course one of the gloves fails and he has to start doing it with one hand and
Red
make
is
it up the
dead.
building.
Is that a callback to Pulp Fiction?
Oh, that's Zed's dead.
That was only for the people really paying attention.
You know, and like some IMDb trivia is just so shit. You're
Yeah.
like, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Where they'd go, Ving Rhames was also in the Pulp Fiction movie series where someone said Zed's dead, and this movie they say Red's dead.
and 5 found that interesting.
Out of 72.
Yeah.
How do I delete this information from the internet?
Oh, now I can't lip read anymore. I've got too many bullshit facts in my head.
And of course, like beautiful ticking clock stuff going on. The cable guy moment is Tom Cruise now running down the building.
Ooh.
Renner is the one that does the starfish or the jump and hang in this one. He does it while wearing like a magnet type suit
The
later in the
attempted
movie.
passing of the torch.
Passing of the torch. I'm like, oh, well, if he can starfish, then anyone can starfish. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
You can sense me upping the pace as I'm like, all right, this is what you ought to do as we get closer to the end of a Mission Impossible series. There's still multiple films left. Little fun continuity Easter egg. Ethan goes to meet another arms dealer, but given the same hood on his head, so he doesn't know where he's going, as he does in the first movie when he meets Max, the arms dealer.
Like physically the same hood?
It's the same hood. Like
Wow.
it's a distinct, it has a distinct patches and stuff on it. Like maybe all the arms dealers have like a hood guy that they get their hoods
Yeah,
from. Maybe
right. This one's a second-hand
Yeah.
one. It's got
We
patches on it.
we found this hood. The offer went out to Vanessa Redgrave to reprise her role of Skullface / Max. According to the costume designer, Michael Kaplan, he never designed any costumes for her because she said no immediately.
Right.
Yeah, which is pretty clear language, I think.
I think that's nice and clear, actually, yeah.
At the end, there's a big showdown in this parking garage in India, which is amazing, and everything is like every movie, everything's come down to the last second.
Is that the parking garage? where like it's mechanical and stuff?
It's mechanical. All the cars are being moved around. Cruz has to stop
yep.
this nuclear weapon, so like he gets into a car and drives off the ramp and goes and just
Sick.
goes down and hits the ground. Luckily, airbags are incredible, and he's able to survive.
Yeah.
Wow.
He is very lucky.
There's also a plot line throughout here that Jeremy Renner's character was on protection for his Ethan Hunt's wife, and he's wrestling with this demon that Ethan Hunt's wife is dead on his watch.
Right.
But then at the end of the movie, we learn that was all a trick to disappear Ethan Hunt's wife and make sure she was protected, and so he could get into this Russian prison as well. So it's probably more complicated than it is. Also, as a result, learning of that it was Chris McQuarrie that came in and like rewrote his character, so it is a little bit convoluted. It's like, oh, actually, his wife's alive and everything's fine, because he additionally they were going to be like, yeah, Ethan Hunt's wife's dead, and Christopher McQuarrie went like, then why is he like still interested in like doing anything? Like he doesn't have his emotional heartbeat anymore. If like, oh yeah, Ethan Hunt's wife's dead, that's it. Off screen, nothing. Yeah, that the wife that he fought for in Mission Impossible 3 is just dead now. So I needed a screenwriter to come in and be like, but what if she was still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that an option?
And at the end, we see Michelle Monaghan in a brief sequence in the Luther sequence, and we can see Ethan Hunt sort of watching her at a distance, sort of keeping a protective
Reading
eye.
her lips.
Reading her
Or
lips.
trying to, but failing. He lost that
she's
ability.
actually got her back to him, but he's still reading her lips. He's that good.
I still want to beat Michelle Brazier's time, so let's crack on. Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Okay, the synopsis of this one: Hunt is tracking down the Syndicate, who gets mentioned at the end of this movie. Like he gets his mission at the end of Ghost Protocol, saying, introducing this idea of this rogue organization called the Syndicate. Meanwhile, IMF is being shut down by the CIA. Okay, so the CIA agent Alec Baldwin is here.
The Shadow.
The Shadow himself, and he wants to retire the IMF. This is sort of like a bit of a Captain America Civil War situation when they're beginning to recognize, like, you guys are pretty wild with your methods. This is pretty silly. And one of the people on this panel that Brandt is having to stand in front of, they say, your unorthodox methods are indistinguishable from chance, which is a nice little summary of everything that they do in the movies. And I like the self-awareness of it as well, that people watching it who are a little bit more, there's people that watch movies and go, oh, as if that would happen. You're like, have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, lighten up.
Lighten up. Cruz is getting older in this one. He is only 5 years younger than John Voight was in the first Mission Impossible film. So this is... I didn't write down the year for this one. Can you look up what the year was for Rogue Nation?
Rogue Nation, yes, I'm on it.
Because we got to know where you were. So in this one, Benji is back.
2015.
2015. Where were you in 2015? Had you gotten over those chicken pox?
Just.
Yeah.
I did Comedy Zone, you did Raw.
That's true,
Oh,
yes.
what a year.
Yeah.
What a year for comedy.
Thank you for remembering that, because I was like, 2015. What was I doing? That's when I started comedy. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, right. And everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that.
Have we been asking you where you were? We're just like,
Yeah,
we'll answer this.
thanks.
Don't really give a fuck
Thanks
about
a lot.
You know when people ask a question because they want to answer it? Marcel's been patiently waiting for that
He's had
every time.
He's had a really good joke written down for each one, and we haven't asked. Where were you in 2015?
I've got like a page worth of stuff for every. I don't really know. I think I'd moved to Sydney. Oh, I got married.
Yeah, that's one you should know.
I mean, that was one day in that year. So it's
Yeah.
not
Was
like
that
the whole
2015?
year. Yeah, I believe.
It's what, 300 plus other days that year?
I had met you before you got married, so there you
know
go.
me pre and post.
Yeah, and look, let me say, what an improvement.
Maybe that year I did it. I don't know if it was your room or if you were just hosting a room above a record store in Sydney.
Oh yeah, I would have been hosting.
And you
that.
were, and you
The
were,
record crate.
and you had used this gimmick where you were playing open mic bingo.
Oh, yeah.
Did you use that many times? Or was
I
that...
use it a couple of times because, like, hosting open mic sucks. So having a little bit of fun with going, like, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with the comedians who are on tonight, and like, we'll tick the box when it says dick joke. We'll tick the joke box when someone says, "So I'm single," and I can have something to do across the show, and we can have that moment when someone goes, "Bingo." I'm glad you remembered that. They say Benji is back. Hunt has to pull him out of his new desk job. So, like, Benji gets sent away to the CIA. The IMF is dissolved. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Ethan is once again having to sort of work in the dark, in the shadows. And this sort of becomes sort of a buddy movie between Ethan and Benji. And Benji is becoming more and more capable. Meanwhile, Brant and Luther are in buddy mode trying to track them down before Alec Baldwin and the CIA do. So you've got a lot of people being pursued in this movie. Because also, the CIA are on shoot-to-kill orders. This idea is like, maybe Ethan Hunt is not a cool guy. We got to take him out.
That's pretty full-on order. You got to really be sure.
To give the CIA agents a license to kill, so to speak. That is big.
That is big.
They don't give that to everyone.
It's a good point. The new cast member, Rebecca Ferguson, as Ilsa.
Sorry, I forgot. This is in America. They do give that right to everyone.
Everyone has the right to shoot to kill.
ACAB. Do we say ACAB on this podcast? Is this an ACAB podcast?
Comedians
are beautiful.
Oh, that's nice. Rebecca Ferguson has joined the cast as Ilsa Faust.
Rebecca Ferguson. Why does that ring a bell?
Her biggest films are the Mission Impossible films. She's been in a few other things. She's originally, I think, from Sweden, I believe.
She married Prince Andrew.
Yes.
Or one of the princes.
Did she?
Oh, she's in bloody... she's in The Greatest Showman. That's why
I didn't see it.
Look, it's fine.
Did she play the bearded lady?
She didn't play the bearded lady. She played an incredible singer that so many people came to see. It's not her singing at all. Yeah.
Do you want to hum a few bars from the song?
Never enough was a big, she hit some high notes and people went, wow.
Really want to double check if you know what hum means, Jess. Thank you.
So she is from British intelligence and she's undercover with the Syndicate, who are this sort of anti-IMF, the bad IMF.
The chaos to their control.
Yes, indeed. Yes, so if we're talking about Get Smart rules. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, that's I see the whole world through that lens.
Also an iconic theme.
So good.
I wonder if they thought with the Steve Carell Get Smart movie they were going to start their own franchise of films.
They should have got Jeremy Renner.
They should have got Jeremy.
If you want to pass the torch, you got to get Renner.
So she's in double agent mode. If you detected, her last name's Faust. Are you familiar with the Faustian legend? Deal with the devil. And so
they just went let's just literally call her Faust.
Yeah, it's very on the nose.
And they shook hands and said, "That's a pact."
And then they handed her a gun and said, "It's Chekhov."
A lot of those characters that we've met in previous films, like Paula Patton and Maggie Q, are just not talked about again.
Cool. And
it just turns out that it's Kristen McQuarrie said in an interview that it was just logistics all the time. They're like, "Oh, do you want to do this next one? No, you're not available. Okay, we'll figure it out then."
Yeah.
So what else can I tell you?
That was humming.
Yes.
Oh, you've nailed it. So let me tell you about the Syndicate.
You can lip read people humming.
Yes, I can.
Oh, that person over there's humming. Across the room. I can't hear it, but I can see it. They're humming.
So the Syndicate are the new baddies, and I'll tell you about them because they come up. They're gonna reoccurring baddies now.
Oh.
So they're here, and they're a shadow terror organization. They're made up of ex-spies and agents from around the world presumed dead. We later learned they were created by someone from British intelligence, and then they went rogue. So, this guy in British intelligence is like, oh, what if we experimented with this idea that we could create our own shadow operation that no one knows about? But then this rogue operation goes rogue themselves.
Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy.
Did you say shadow operation? I know a guy who'd be really good for this. Is it? What's
the
this
shadow
one?
knows.
Is it? This one's called Rogue something as well.
Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the original TV series, the Syndicate were actually like American mafia. They were organized crime. This was a result of because in the TV series, IMF are going to all these countries and messing with stuff and oh, we're American and we'll save the day. We'll sort this out. And then in light of the Vietnam War at the time, audiences started going oh, is this...
Are you really saving the
Yeah,
day?
is this cool that you're going in and messing around with these different countries? So they changed...
Whoa, we're creating a quagmire. What? People don't like a quagmire anymore?
What, we reinserted our own president? Is that a big deal? So they started doing American organized crime to be hey, this is cool though, right? This is not questionable. The villain in this movie is Solomon Lane, played by Sean Harris, he was in a lot of British stuff, but not really a face. I knew him as the creepy drug dealer from the Michael Caine movie Harry Brown.
Oh,
if you saw that.
Oh no.
It's a small movie, but
yeah.
Yeah, that's who I was.
Yeah.
I think
no,
I
that's
know
who
him
I was
from
thinking
this
of.
movie.
Yeah, right.
Now that
Yeah.
I'm like, I recognize him. Oh, that's right. I've
From the
seen
movie
this.
that I've seen. So he's an ex-government agent now using terrorism to create change for himself. He's no longer, following orders. He's no longer under someone else's control. This is the first film in the franchise where Ethan Hunt and the primary antagonist, the villain, share no physical contact whatsoever.
No shaking hands, no smooches.
He's really good. He's a great villain. He
Yeah,
was also
I think he's
in.
great.
He played Ian Curtis in 24-Hour Party People.
Oh, I never saw that.
Well, do yourself a favour.
Do yourself a flavour. Who said that?
Craig David, I think.
What's your flavour?
Do yourself
A
a flavour.
flavour.
The big heist in this one.
We're losing it.
Yeah,
We're
this
getting
is-
to the. Yeah.
This is an epic. We're in an epic.
Yeah.
I love the roller coaster of an epic where you lose and find your mind.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm in the mode of don't overstay your welcome, Marcel, but do a decent enough job where you're still delivering, but also be aware that, oh my goodness.
No,
You're doing great.
Genuinely, don't feel like you have to rush. And the listeners have said many times they love the long ones. So
I love the long ones too. I just don't, I'll listen to them over different.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty
sure.
of it, right? Occasionally, people complain about lengths, too long. It's forgetting that they can pause or just stop altogether.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then on the flip side, sometimes the episodes are too short.
yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
You're keeping them too short now. It's
Should we put an interval in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, with
Yes.
more intermissions.
Yeah, like a half-hour silence. in
Yeah.
the middle, so people can pop out for get down the shops or
And
something.
then when they see a 4-hour episode on their podcast app, they're like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "No,
No, don't worry.
It's
most
got
of it's
two
interval.
intervals."
I should say
so you can go to the concession stand.
Yes.
the vast majority of people don't complain either way.
They don't say anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I assume they're happy with whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine writing into one of your favorite podcasts with feedback. I would never do that.
Oh, have you done that before?
Yes.
What did you do? Oh
No
no!
comment. All right, the big heist.
Oh, that's ringing the Vegas bells. Oh, I'm sure it was. Have we taken it on board?
It was all well-meaning.
Oh, it's all. I think it's always well-meaning.
Yeah, but also
It's just hard to.
stay out of it. Marcel.
Sometimes it's just hard to, when you're getting contradictory feedback, it makes me feel real anxious. Like I can't. I'm like I don't know what to.
I don't know what to
I don't know what to do here.
But also,
Longer and shorter?
like any creative thing, people are figuring it out, and especially you just let people figure it out. But also, I think too, what's the Australian comedian that told Eric Bana not to take the chopper role?
Oh, Dave O'Neill.
Dave O'Neill,
Yeah.
those sort of moments where just don't say anything in those. Imagine that. That's
I didn't
what.
know that.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, yeah, don't do that. Stay with comedy. Don't. It's going to be
don't
ridiculous."
you?
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah,
Dave
that's
O'Neill.
so funny. Don't take.
Oh, nah, Eric, I wouldn't.
I remember Marcel. He emailed saying, "Get rid of this Dave guy."
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we finally have.
We didn't.
Yeah, the listeners will slowly realise that this European vacation goes on for a very long time.
No, yeah, Dave's still in Europe. It has been for 5 years, and we wish him well.
And
Anyway,
Marcel's back again. He's visiting Melbourne and said he'd drop by. So
that's good.
It'd be brutal if you use one of his great punchlines about it. And we wish him well.
I forgot where I got that from. Dave. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, no, enjoy his holiday.
His holiday,
enjoy the rest.
holiday. Rest
Because
in
time
peace.
difference means he's probably sleeping now.
He's a
yeah,
snoozing.
that's all.
He's a snoozing right
Peaceful.
now.
Yeah.
And we're back from the intermission. So the big heist.
I like how we just went on quite a long, tedious riff off the back of you going, we better hurry up here. That is a real...
I want to say this for truth, just so we don't leave. Early on in this podcast, I loved listening to it. And I remember... I must have just been in, I don't know what mood I was in, and I want you to forgive me. A
helpful mood.
I sent a message being like, I think sometimes the tangents are too long, and I love the subject. So it was me being
definitely,
like,
well, that's feedback.
And this podcast is famous for tangents, and it's why people love it. So I felt like Eric Bennett, like being told, like, hey, what if you don't do that? What if you don't do the thing that makes this show the best?
I know. I think there would be plenty of people who stop listening for that reason as well. So it's hard. We could, who knows what would happen.
But I'm a big listener of this podcast.
I think we talked about that at one point. We're like, but what would we be? Just like people can find out stuff on the internet easily.
Yeah.
This is
exactly.
I mean, look how easily we've found out this stuff.
Yeah. What if you just read the entire Wikipedia page, you guys?
Yeah. And
what if it was just one
down.
person in the room doing that? Apparently that is a podcast. It's a sleep time podcast. Maybe you could try that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, I use Wikipedia I only use it every now and then. I think that is a bit of a misconception about the show that we're just reading the Wikipedia page.
I use it a bit. I think it's great.
And Marcel, I don't think you should really play into this myth.
That was the other message I sent. You go back into your inbox. It's like, also, Wikipedia has brought up too much, and that Wikipedia joke you keep making, boring. Also, Matt sucks. Jess is a loser. Dave rules.
He's changed his tune.
Stuff that I've just written, like, drunk at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
When you're being too honest.
And another thing. There's a lot of that.
Have you ever sent a message to someone like on Facebook and you haven't messaged them in ages and like there is a message from ages ago, like because that's awkward too.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so nice that you can now delete the messages.
The last message was like begging for a gig and they're like, oh hey, can I get a gig
last
time I messaged you was also, can I have a gig?
How are you, by the way?
But I also see you as a person.
Yeah. Hey man, how's it going? I hope you're doing really well. Can't believe it's been so long. That gig.
That gig you run above that record store.
So the big heist in Rogue Nation is this impossible mission is how to break into a vault via the server's cooling tank in order to get a ledger that proves the syndicate is real. Because everyone's saying the syndicate's a myth, bro. It doesn't exist. Alec Baldwin's not convinced. So it's only, I think the sort of series is overdue to have an underwater level by now.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's
Mario
only natural.
Brothers style.
Come to think of it, I don't think they've done, correct me if I'm wrong, they haven't done like a skiing level. There is snow in the next movie, but there isn't
Yeah,
there isn't
that's
like
a
the
big
snow level
action play. But that's
Yeah.
because what the guy did Ninja Turtles and Transform. Michael Bay hasn't done one yet. That'll definitely have some sort of a ski fight.
Oh, don't give Michael Bay
I
this
don't
movie.
think they would they?
I don't think so. I think Cruise has too much control.
Wait, could you say that more efficiently?
I couldn't possibly. One of the fun gadgets in this one is an assassin who uses a trumpet and he converts it into a sniper rifle.
Love that.
Cool.
Which feels like something out of a Leslie Nielsen movie or something.
Yes.
Only in the Leslie Nielsen, it would sound like a trumpet as he shut up.
This is the first Mission Impossible movie to not feature what they call on IMDb a jump and hang, which is the starfish moment. Yep. So how do you even know it's a Mission Impossible movie? I don't know.
It doesn't count. It's not canon.
My favorite bit in this is there's a battle at an opera. Like while the opera is happening, like Ethan and this guy are battling this assassin, and Benji is having to stop this other assassin. There's 3 assassins going on at the same time in this same opera. There's the worst IMDb trivia I've ever seen. At the time of the movie's release, the Chancellor of Austria was Werner Faymann, and there was never an attempt on his life.
Wait, they're saying this is fiction?
Is that the stupidest thing?
It wasn't even the same guy. What is this from the future or what? I don't get it.
I don't get it. This is dumb.
I better put that online. I better type that into trivia because no one ever tried to kill him. That's weird they put that in the movie.
That's so
That's
funny.
so
funny.
good.
So this is the big movie where Ethan Hunt climbs on the outside of an airplane that's taking off. So this was using a lot of promo material that he's going to hold onto the side of the airplane as it's launching, and this is just in the opening sequence of the movie, like pre credits roll. But it's an amazing stunt. So. To capture the action, a wind-resistant custom frame for the camera was built and mounted onto the left wing of the plane. The other major problem would be keeping Cruise's eyes open in the presence of the
He
fast
got
wind.
very sleepy in his old age.
Boring. It's not exciting enough for him. Like, okay, good grief. So his eye specialist designed a special lens that can cover the entire eyeball. Doesn't that sound super gross?
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
the entire eyeball?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it at all.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess it's all the stuff that the wind would be able to hit. So I guess, like, yeah, a lot of the front, I suppose.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And they cut the bit that connects that cord that puts it into the brain or whatever. Sorry, I should say I'm not a scientist, but it fully wraps the eyeball and he goes blind.
Just in silicone.
But you can keep your eyes open now.
8 takes of the stunt were filmed. Christopher McQuarrie was very concerned that the actor might panic suddenly, but was assured by Cruise to not stop filming until the stunt had been finished. So, that's the thing with these huge stunts. Is not only is he doing it, he's doing it 8 times to get the footage, which is just wild. Just crazy.
No wonder he couldn't keep his eyes open.
Big day.
So, Ethan's back in London for the first time since the first movie. His new power in this movie, towards the end, the syndicate, he gets this big list of all the syndicates, bank information where they'd be able to fund their terrorist attacks and continue to be this rogue IMF, evil IMF. But Cruise destroys the USB stick, but not until he's memorized all the bank information himself.
Sure.
So
I don't even know my bank information.
neither do I. My wife's very good at remembering any numbers. I can't do it at all. So Solomon Lane's there going I'm going to blow up Benji. He's got an explosive device attached to Benji, and says he says, "Where's the disc?" And Ethan Hunt replies, "You're looking at it. I am the disc."
That's good.
The original line was, "You can't handle the disc," but they changed that at the last minute. Citation needed. This is the first Mission Impossible where the main villain is not killed.
Oh.
So all the other movies, I did mention that Philip Seymour Hoffman's character gets hit by a car. They're both underneath a truck, and Ethan Hunt lifts him up high enough to get taken out by the car, which is pretty intense.
So he kills a bit, Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt's not one of those sort of superheroes
He's not a Batman type.
He's not a Batman type. Although I was thinking recently about characters like Batman and Spider-Man that must do some horrific injuries to these people. Sometimes low-level criminals must never walk again, and Spider-Man is there going, well, you shouldn't have dealt that small amount of drugs.
To support your family.
I've got the moral high ground here.
Yeah.
I didn't kill you, though, did I? I'm a good guy.
You're alive. You've got an opportunity to turn your life around.
And it's actually, I don't, because I can't walk and I couldn't possibly get a job, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Are you going to do anything to help me?
The American healthcare system is terrible.
And you have access to a lot of great tech.
Yeah. Any way you could help me out?
Could you ask Tony Stark to get me some new legs or something?
No?
You should have thought of that before you dealt that small amount of drugs.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't actually do it? You were just next to the guys doing it? Oh. Yeah, well.
Yeah,
gotta go.
Anyway.
Whip, whip.
Flip.
That's just him saying that out loud.
There's not enough thwarting and too much thwipping.
Yeah, this is true. So Sean Harris, who plays Solomon Lane, he agreed to appear as the villain on the proviso that his character be killed, and he didn't want to be in any sequels.
Oh. And they didn't do that.
They didn't do it. So both Christopher, I can't say the word Christopher today. Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise agreed, but couldn't find a way to dispose of the character that felt narratively satisfying. As a result, they decided to have Lane be captured with no plans to reappear. However, during the last days of filming Rogue Nation, they both had the idea that the next film's mission should revolve around Hunt having to break Lane out of prison. So they're like, nah.
You actually are coming back.
And what did Lane had to do it against his will? The next movie?
Yeah, the whole movie, he's like blinking at the camera to like save me, and they had to edit out his eyelids so it didn't distract from the viewing.
It's actually, and it's creepier. It's more distracting because he never blinks.
Sometimes in the background of some scenes, you can see him mouthing the words, "Help me, help me."
Yeah.
It's me, Sean Harris. I'm not in character. I didn't want to be here. And then Tom Cruise just steps in front of him and shakes his head.
And goes, everything's good here.
And they left all of that in.
It's weird.
It's a strangely edited
It's a strange
film.
choice. So let's talk about the most recent movie to come out. This is Mission Impossible Fallout 2018.
This is about... I didn't realize there were this many, and I should say I watched them all a few months ago, but I think this is maybe my favourite of all of them.
I think
they've all, like the last three have all been great.
Yeah, I think this one is the biggest thrill ride, dare I say.
Okay.
Biggest romp?
It's the biggest romp, and I think it's got the best amount of, it's got the best characters in it.
I also, sometimes when you see the film and the mood you're in can elevate it. I remember I went to this Indian restaurant in Brisbane.
I love Indian food.
In New Farm, and there's a deal there. You can have a meal deal and includes
a Mission Impossible disc.
Yeah, and it includes two movie tickets for the cinema across the road.
Oh, right.
And I used one of those tickets to wander across the road and watch this film in an empty cinema by myself. I was there for Brisbane Comedy Festival or something, and I'm just like, I'm living like a king.
That's the best.
That's
What
such a
did you
good
do
way
with
to
the
live.
second ticket?
Well, like any king would do, I lit it and smoked a cigar.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, just like Cape Fear style in the cinema, just laughing it up.
Yeah.
While a family of people are like, hey, can you keep it down, buddy?
I said it was empty. It was by the end of the film.
So this is 3 years later, making it the shortest gap between Mission movies. It's titled Fallout to refer both to nuclear fallout and the fallout of Hunt's actions. Or as one of the villains in the movie warns, the fallout of all your good intentions.
Oh.
And they did the flossing dance in the film. Did that originate from that game?
I'm not...
Jess, you're the gamer here.
Fallout the game. Now you're thinking of Fortnite.
Damn it, I get those two confused.
Yeah, same.
You know those moments where you're like, oh, am I supposed to know this reference? Yeah, and just sort of nod and be like, oh, wait a minute. Actually, you fucked it up.
Yeah.
Well, that's not like me.
The smart one of the group. I'm the brawn.
Yeah.
Jess, you're the man in the van.
I'm the man in the van. Oh, God, actually, yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, that's a great
I'm a good
role.
driver.
Is there a mattress
Great
in the van?
driver, great parker.
Can I have a snooze in the van?
I could be the getaway driver. I'm
That's
a
cool.
pretty good driver.
Not unlike Baby Driver himself.
Yeah, but I'd be listening to an audiobook and not cool tunes.
That'd be amazing.
So just every now and then I'd go,
Because you still have to match the driving to the audio.
that's
book.
right, yeah. So it's actually quite a leisurely drive. But that makes us less suspicious,
That is true. All that skidding around and
They're like,
spinning
well, that's
and
clearly
stuff.
the car.
Yeah.
you know?
People don't drive like that. Yeah. So this is arguably the first proper sequel in the series because it relies substantially on plot devices and even antagonists established in the preceding Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So, like, if you watch this one without seeing the previous one, you would get a little bit lost because there's a lot of stuff going on. Similar to the later Fast and the Furious movies. Like, if you watch them in isolation, you start to go, okay, why do I care about any of these people?
I think that's what I did. I hadn't seen the previous ones at this stage. This is the one that got me into it to go back and watch the other ones.
right.
And I still really enjoyed it without knowing. I just sort of, you just go, all right, I get it.
Yeah, it's a lot
These
of
movies
spy
are a
stuff.
bit confusing anyway. So
Yeah.
I think that must be one of the trickiest things for them because they've got this device where anyone can be anyone else because of the masks. It must be, you've just got to get that balance right so that people watching aren't like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And I reckon
Yeah.
maybe that second one, the one that had so many masks, got to the point where you're like, oh, this is getting a bit silly now.
Yeah, how am I
Even though
supposed
it
to
is
commit to
silly, but
this?
it can be, somehow there's a threshold of how much you take before you're like, I'm not taking anyone at their word now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You still got to buy into the thing. So the wiki synopsis for this one: when an IMF mission to recover plutonium ends badly, the world is faced with the threat of the Apostles, a terrorist organization formed by former members of the Syndicate. As Ethan Hunt takes it upon himself to fulfill the original mission, the CIA begins to question his loyalty and his motives. So the opening shot of this one, Ethan and his wife, Michelle Monaghan, is back, getting married on a beach. But what's this? Who's the priest? Only Solomon Lane. What? And then he wakes up. It's a dream, a nightmare, if you will. This is the first dream sequence we've seen in the movie. There's a few more in this movie because Ethan Hunt's he's a little bit. He's always cool and calm, pretty much, but there's a few moments where he's like a little bit on edge.
Yeah, okay.
Like he always has to be in control, but he's a few moments he goes, "Oh, I'm a little jittered. I'm a little jittered by this."
Oh, I just need to, you know what, guys? He like is in the middle of a fight scene. He's like, "Can I just have a couple of minutes to gather my thoughts?"
Just give me 5.
Just give me.
Can we all take 5?
We'll take 5. I'm just, if I can be honest, I am in a bit of a weird place at the moment. I'm not sleeping all that well.
In a bit of a funk, okay?
I'm in a funk. And, I am not myself. I'm so sorry.
People call me Ethan Hunt. I'm more Ethan Funk at the moment.
Yes.
I love code phrases in these spy movies. So a knock at his door comes after after he wakes up from his nightmare, and the delivery man says, "Fate whispers to the warrior," and Ethan Hunt says, "A storm is coming." The delivery man says, and the warrior whispers back, and Ethan Hunt says, "I am the storm."
Ooh, that's
a
badass.
good line. Yeah, I like
nice
that.
little combo. In the Shadow movies, they have this as well. If I can bring things back to the Shadow,
And you can.
Please do.
What is it? It's something like the guy says, the ice is slippery. Watch the movie and get back to
Yeah,
me. But
okay.
That's great
delightful.
sizzle, though.
Yeah,
I think
great
a lot of
sizzle.
people are going, I want to watch it to find out.
He does the Shadow does a lot of life saving, and he says, "I saved your life, now it belongs to me," which is, then he has a lot of operatives that work for him. So if I save your life, you're now at my bidding anytime I need you.
Okay, just let me die. I reckon.
Oh, if that's the case.
Let me go.
Yeah, I'll go. Put me back in the
Back in the
water.
volcano, thank you.
The water volcano.
I saved your life. Now it belongs to me. So the first mission of this movie fails. So this is the plutonium thing, and Hunt and Benji and Luther lose the plutonium. Luther almost dies. We cut to a series of nuclear attacks on the TV. Wolf Blitzer is on the news announcing about these nuclear attacks. And there's a man in a hospital bed. He's watching this news. He's just woken up, and he's seeing the news on TV. And then Luther and Hunt come in and they're like, "Hey, you're the nuclear guy. You're the guy who made these nuclear devices. And now look what they've done. They've blown up the whole world. We've got your manifesto here. This was all your intention." And he's like, "What happened to me?" He's like, "Oh, you were in a car accident 2 weeks ago. And since then, all these monuments have been exploded by these nuclear weapons. And we need you to unlock this phone. Because we need to be able to get this information from you."
And it's locked, and we need a SIM card to go overseas. And so I don't know if you. I know this is sort of off topic, but if you could.
I've got a holiday to Thailand.
Yeah, just after we wrap this
and
up. So yeah.
I didn't want to be without a phone, obviously, and also sometimes it's hard to just rely on Wi-Fi. So I want to get a SIM card in there, but the phone is
unlimited data would be great
if you
that's
can.
Not too much to ask. So I remember watching this scene and being like, "Oh my God, the IMF has already lost the mission. Like, there's been nuclear explosions in the world." And the guy's like, "Hey, if you get Wolf Blitzer to read my manifesto on TV, I'll unlock the phone." So they're like, "We've got no choice," and they get on the phone to their bosses. Wolf Blitzer gets this manifesto that he starts reading. The nuclear villain in the bed's like, "All right, I'll unlock my phone that has all this information on it." And then Ethan Hunt's like, he just says, "Go." And then the hospital room falls down around him. It's all been a
so
set.
Good.
Wolf Blitzer was just Benji wearing a mask.
Whoa.
They don't really explain the footage of the nuclear blast. I guess that maybe like Dr. Evil, they just got the footage from Independence Day or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they put masks on the monuments. Disaster masks and fire masks, yeah.
Because you can't just be in the movie like, "Oh, we used CGI for those explosions," like you would if you were in a movie.
I think CGI can still exist in a movie with CGI in it. Surely.
Well, you can, but like it also takes you out. Like, then what's the difference between a CGI explosion and a real explosion in
Yeah.
the same world? Do they have to make it look particularly bad, like it's claymation or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference between a CGI and a real explosion in our world?
That's so true.
Whoa.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's deep. I'm
Whoa,
going to
that
be thinking about that
actually-
for a long time.
That spun me around a full 360. So
Yeah.
I agree with my original point of view, Phil.
The villain in this movie is the mysterious John Lark. So once again, you've got like a guy who's like, there's an evil guy in the midst, but we don't know who it is yet.
Even Lark is even though it's not what we were talking about before, like a Dr. X or something, it's still
There's
somehow,
something spooky about Lark.
Yeah. Is that like a kind of bird or something?
I believe so.
A spooky bird.
Like one of those birds that kills?
I don't think they're spooky. I think they're just nice little birds.
I think they might herald something.
Herald.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Herald evil times or
Yes.
something. Or is that, am I thinking the word hark? Hark, who goes there?
Yeah, but you would hark a lark, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Hark a lark. The big stunt in this one is a halo jump. Do you know what halo stands for? You want to take a stab?
Hey!
In relation to like a big jump.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
All legs.
Hey, all legs over!
Yeah.
You're close. It's high altitude, low opening.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Hey, all legs over.
So I guess low opening refers to like how close to the ground they are before their parachutes are opened. So this one is sort of insane. So in this sequence was like they practiced over a year to do this, for Tom Cruise to do this for real.
Whoa.
They also as part of the sequence, he's pretending it's obviously all pretending it's a movie, but like the other Henry Cavill's character, who we'll talk about in a sec, he's passed out like while falling, and so Ethan Hunt has to try and wake him up mid-air and reattach his oxygen so he can wake up and land safely. This guy said that rescuing another person in freefall while skydiving is very difficult. Alan Hewitt says that it takes accelerated freefall instructors over 1,000 jumps to get it right, and something like 70% of the people who try to qualify the instructor level fail. Tom just had 100 jumps to perfect this. So Tom Cruise is like some sort of weird machine man.
Yeah, he can learn skills real quick.
I wonder where he gets his energy from.
What are you
Coke?
thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. I
You think it's from Elrond?
I mean, you hear about people that use like blood from young people.
Oh, yeah. You
That
think
would
it's
be
some sort
it.
of...
Yeah. Young
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah,
Young blood.
virgin
But like,
blood,
what
so-
kind of age has the most energy? I'm thinking toddlers.
Yeah, that's true.
Toddler blood.
And remember, he was in Interview with a Vampire.
That's true.
Think about it.
Don't toddlers nap every day?
Shit, okay.
That's true.
So what are it's teenagers?
What if you get you mix some toddler blood with some teenager blood?
Because teenagers sleep a lot as well, but they just have more resilience to like. Do you remember being hungover as a teen and early 20s, and you could go to work?
Yeah, I reckon
you'd be
early
fine.
20s is probably...
Early 20s
yeah.
is you could just survive on so little sleep and the shittest food, and you never exercised, and you looked the best you've ever looked and felt the best you've ever felt.
Yeah, let's kill them.
Kill them all.
Drain their
You don't have
blood.
to kill them to get their blood.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
This is news to me.
Well, I've got some families to apologise to because I've killed a lot of kids.
So Henry Cavill, Superman himself,
He's great in this.
he's amazing in this. He's a beautiful addition. So he's joining the squad on behalf of the CIA. So they're like, hey, we don't trust the IMF doing this mission after they lost the plutonium. So Angela Bassett's character, who's the new director of the CIA, after Alec Baldwin's character left to run the IMF, she's like, all right, we're putting Henry Cavill in there. His
Is
name
he British?
No, he's American. His name's August Walker.
Oh,
August Walker.
Augie
August-
Walker.
I like it.
Augie Walker.
Hello, it's me, Augie Walker.
August's a great name. I've got a listener named August, or we used to. One of
Yeah.
my fave names.
Great
It's a
name,
good name.
August.
It's a good name.
Like,
And
as far as the months go, you hear April sometimes, which is fine, or
Sure.
May.
April's nice.
June.
May's
June
nice.
is, yeah.
January.
Yeah,
But I
January
reckon
Jones.
August is the best month name.
I've never met a December though.
Or an October. That feels, I mean, I assume
I'm on
they're
a
right
hunt.
out there.
I'm on a hunt for a red October.
October Hunt.
Oh!
Should we get on to Ethan? Give him some ideas?
Yeah.
So this is a nice little way to describe these characters. So Angela Bassett's character says, "You use a scalpel. I prefer a hammer." So
Okay.
that's who Agent Walker is. Here's a hammer
Yeah.
to Ethan Hunt's scalpel.
Right. And to every problem to Walker looks like a nail.
That's true. He is that sort of guy. So he's got this beautiful big moustache. He is a tank of a man.
This is the one. This is the reason they had to CGI out his mustache in one of the Superman movies.
Exactly. So they had to do reshoots for Justice League, and because of the idea of like, well, we own this guy and we own the other guy. They had to CGI the moustache because they refused to sort of work around it.
Wow.
And it looks awful, and that movie is, that whole scene is awful as a result. Jerry Morena is not in this film due to his commitment. He was busy doing Avengers stuff. Apparently, if he was to do the movie, they would have killed him in the first scene.
Okay.
So
good thing you
it's
didn't.
good
Wasn't
move.
available.
And it sort of doesn't really need to be mentioned where he is, because a lot of the movie is like on the run sort of stuff where we're moving quickly. We haven't really put a team together sort of stuff.
When you're on the run, you don't have a lot of time to check in with old friends.
Yeah, exactly. And be like, oh, hey, who can we count on in this moment? Maybe the guy who was in the last two movies? Yeah, don't worry about it. Like a lot of those Avengers movies have like moments where like, oh, should we call up our other superhero buddies for this one? They're like, oh, no, we don't want to bother him because
he's doing other
this
stuff.
isn't an Iron Man mission. This is more of an Ant-Man thing.
We need someone small.
We need a small guy. And how tall is Tony Stark? He's not.
He's
not
like
an ant
5'8",
size.
but then you put him in the suit. He's obviously giving himself platforms. He's like 6'2".
He's not going to fit in this mouse hole.
Yeah.
Is he?
No, we need Ant-Man.
Yeah, we need Ant-Man to chase this mouse.
Well,
Mouse
like
man.
in Deadpool or one of those movies, and they just have the two of the cheapest X-Men appear.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the whole X-Men house is empty. And they sort of made a joke of it. But we got Big Metal Man.
Deadpool loves a little gag. He's not afraid of a gag.
Yeah, if you like Fourth Walls, this is not the movie for you because they get broken.
So the best fight in this movie, there's this iconic fight scene in a bathroom in a giant club in Paris where they parachute into. For some reason, it is also the cleanest club bathroom you've ever seen, and also
it is so white.
Often
Yes,
the
that's right.
emptiest as well. Like rarely are people ever coming into this.
Whenever I see something like that in an action movie, like a really clean thing, or someone's wearing a white shirt, or in a horror movie where they're not wearing shoes and wearing shorts, you're like, well, blood's coming to that clean white thing. It just feels like... I remember I was watching a horror movie the other month, and this guy was walking around at home with shorts and no shoes on. I'm like, he's having his legs slashed, and that's what happened. It's just like, it just feels like,
would never
why
have
else
that
would
thought.
they...
It's like Chekhov's legs.
Yeah, exactly.
If you introduce a pair of bare legs in Act 1, you
they're
have to
getting
cut them off by
slashed.
Act 2.
But did they splatter a lot of blood in this thing? Because that...
There's a little bit, but remember, this is a PG-13 movie, so if
Ah.
you put too much blood in, then you lose, you become MA or R-rated in America straight away.
Yeah, but
So
this is more MMA.
There's a bit.
Does American go PG-13 to R?
Yeah, they don't have MA. So
M or M?
That's why when you hear like, oh, like Deadpool's going to be an R-rated movie, to an Australian audience, it's like, oh, that
Oh, is
sounds
that hardcore porn?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds hardcore.
Yeah, right.
But to an American audience, it's just it's 18 plus.
Right.
So we've got like PG and then M, then MA.
Yeah,
They-
MA 15 plus restricted.
Yeah.
They don't have it. They just have
Yeah,
PG-13. So it's a confusing
Well, it's
thing.
different over there. We slowly mature, but over there, they go from teens to adults like, boom.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, true. We're
they
very
can handle
slow.
it. They can handle it.
It's so funny how beyond the age of about 13, 14, you don't really pay attention to... I have no idea the ratings of films because I'm a grown-up and I can go see any of them.
Oh, really? You don't watch it. You go, oh, this might be a bit scary for me.
Oh, yeah, no. If I watch a trailer and go, oh, spooky, then I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I'd try, I ideally don't want to know, especially if it's PG, because I'll be so aware of it. I'm like, oh, they're not
They're not
that
gonna
person
say fuck.
definitely would have said fuck there.
Yeah.
This
But if
is
you don't know, you don't miss it.
This is the first Mission Impossible movie that they do say fuck in, because you can say one fuck that's not sexual in a PG-13
You can't
movie.
say, I want to fuck.
Yeah.
You can't say
yeah,
that.
Ethan Hunt doesn't say, I
But
want
you-
to fuck.
But you can say, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you can say, oh, fuck.
Once.
Yeah, I believe it is Walker himself that says fucking, I think, in some scene.
Right.
So yeah, amazing fight scene. Apparently it was meant to be shot in 4 days, but it took several weeks to be shot. And it's just a beautiful fight. This is the fight scene that you might remember from the trailer where Henry Cavill's character reloads his arms.
Oh.
He sort of jacks his arms
So
in a way,
good.
like they're two beefy shotguns, and it's just a beautiful moment.
Love
and
it.
They go, oh, apparently that idea was improvised. Like, oh wow,
Cool.
oh, he thought of that. The actor did an acting thing. That's what actors are doing. They have to fill in a thing because the director is often going like, okay, you'll walk from this space to this space, and you're angry and you want to fight that guy. So it's not amazing that he's like, oh, maybe I'll move my arms a bit. It's like, oh, that was you improvised
Whoa,
that.
I thought of that.
Are you the most genius man in the world?
Is an artist.
Artiste, I would say.
Max is back. Sorry, Skullface.
Thank you.
But it's her daughter this time
Ooh,
around, and
Max
her
Jr..
name. You'll like this. The daughter's code name, the White Widow.
Oh,
What do you
That's
think about
better.
that?
That's better.
Now
So
we're
she doesn't have to
talking.
be called Skullface because she's already got a cool name.
White Widow's good.
And she's doing that same sort of shadow broker sort of stuff
Yeah.
as well. The Act 2 mission is a big one as well. So this one's, we got to break out Solomon Lane, as I alluded to before. So now Ethan Hunt has gone in undercover as John Lark. So, but now he's going undercover as John Lark, but then the CIA is going, but is Ethan Hunt actually John Lark? And now it's just a convenient thing that he's pretending to be undercover as John Lark, but this whole time actually he is the evil guy, John
double
Lark. that we've
bluffing,
been
or is he triple bluffing?
Yeah, exactly. So now he's sort of in John Lark mode, which is confusing. I can see Jess's face begin to
Yeah, glazed
turn.
over a little bit
Have you
there.
seen these movies?
No.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
I think you'd enjoy them.
I feel like
yeah.
you'd enjoy them too, but maybe not. What do you reckon, just on having heard?
Oh, I definitely want to watch them, yes. Because they feel like a fun romp. But I think I've probably avoided them because I am probably in that camp of like, I don't really like Tom Cruise that much.
Right, yeah.
But then I saw that movie with him and Emily Blunt.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I reckon
thought
that
he
one
was
turned
good
me
in
back
it.
around as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's great.
I was like, he had moments in there where I was like, is he funny? Like, is he capable of funny? Oh my God.
I
He's
just
nice
think
and
it's really
self-aware in
good.
that. Yeah. I love that scene where he's having to learn how to roll away from everyone doing push-ups, and the first times he's trying to roll away, he gets crushed by a
Yeah.
car, and the army instructor is like, "Why the hell would you do that?" Yeah, it's good stuff.
Very funny.
The vibe of this episode would have been so different if Dave was here.
Yeah.
Because he hates Tom Cruise.
He would have been saying "Pfft" a lot. Oh, pfft.
Tom Cruise did steal his first girlfriend.
Oh,
though.
that is
Yeah,
true.
We should mention that. That's why. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
He
it's-
wore a
that's
Dave mask. It was actually really fucking weird.
Pretty full on, actually.
And then he took the mask off, and the girlfriend was like, "Oh, much better."
Yeah.
Anyway, we wish Dave well.
Yeah, we do wish him well on his holiday. And I'm not
Holiday.
doing air quotes right now. So they break out Solomon Lane in this amazing, he's in prison transport. Not unlike how they broke out Dom out of prison in one of the Fast and the Furious movies as well. Are they set in the same universe? Maybe.
Maybe.
I would love to see a team up movie.
What about in the A-Team where they blast the door off the back of the...
Oh, then he rides the door.
He
doesn't
rides
he?
the door.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's fun. That's my favourite.
I haven't seen that.
You gotta see it.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
good?
a romp.
I've
That's
seen
a
some
freaking romp.
recently. I've seen a few clips of the TV show, and it's awful.
Oh, yeah. But
But I
the
mean,
film's
maybe
fun.
awful in a fun way. I don't know. I watched it. I kept watching it for ages.
What does that say about you?
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
It's
It's
like
just like,
every time I'm on TikTok, I get Big Bang Theory clips and I watch them.
What's the deal with those TikTok clips that are just recaps of TV shows?
Yeah.
And stuff? Those are
I
bizarre.
watch all of them, though.
Yeah, me too.
well, I think it's good that they're helping the Big Bang Theory find a new audience.
Yeah.
Finally, that niche show. So they knock this car, the truck that Solomon Lane is in, into the water. There's this great underwater sequence. Meanwhile, Ethan Hunt and Walker have to they have a truck chase, and then that turns into a bike chase once again. Ethan Hunt is not wearing a helmet, nor is he wearing sunglasses this time, so he has to now use those weird contact lenses again so he can ride a motorcycle without a helmet or sunglasses, any protective gear, which seems
Stupid.
insane.
Where are we at this point? We're
still in Paris.
Paris.
So, they're doing the bidding of the White Widow. The White Widow's like,
Right.
hey, if you want to get this plutonium back, you've got to break out Solomon Lane, because that's the broker that I'm broking today. I'm a broker. Yeah, it's confusing.
This is how I broke.
Honestly, it's like a whole personality, you know? Get a hobby or something.
Get a husband.
Exactly.
Yo. Yes.
She did have a husband.
Oh, okay. We'll
What?
get another
The
one.
White Widow.
Oh.
Get a new husband.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, everyone grieves in their own time.
That's true. And
No.
don't make it your whole thing as well. That's going to be a real buzzkill on a date. Like, what's your name? Oh, I go by
White
the
Widow.
White Widow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Well, I don't
Check,
need to ask
please.
any questions about your past.
Are they the spiders that fuck then kill their partner?
That's Black
Widows.
Widows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Totally different. I don't know how silly I must sound now.
Yes, indeed.
Confusing those
You're-
two very different things.
You're a silly Billy. This is the one where Tom Cruise broke his ankle on set and stopped filming for a while. And it's sort of a small stunt that he was doing. He was jumping between two buildings. It wasn't a huge gap, but he misjudged the fall and broke his ankle.
Ow.
But he still recovers enough in the shot that they use in the movie is the
Oh,
ankle
wow.
breaking, and he
That's
still
cool.
runs off camera with it
Holy
broken,
shit.
which is pretty intense. Also, the doctors had thought his injury would take 9 weeks to heal, but Cruise was able to start running slowly just after 7 weeks. Classic Cruise
Classic
behavior.
Cruise.
Team
He-
blood.
He definitely, he does have some sort of healing thing.
Yeah.
Wolverine style.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Wolverine
he's
style.
a
Doug Ray Scott.
multi-millionaire.
This is true.
So
he can afford
you got a
virgin
team.
blood.
You got a team.
Oh, yes, he got a team.
You got a
You
team.
got physios, you got naturopaths, you got
robots.
robots, you got teenagers to slaughter. You got
Nanotechnology.
nanotechnology, you got Iron Man on his team.
Yeah,
He's
this is
fixing
true.
stuff for you.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, I'm so strong. Like, I did this through willpower alone. It's
No,
like,
no, no,
oh,
no,
yeah,
no.
I'm
You
sure.
got a team.
You stole someone else's ankle off
Yeah,
the black
you
market.
got an ankle transplant.
Yeah. There is no cable guy moment in this one.
What?
There are cables, but there's no
Okay,
there's no hanging starfish moment. But so we reveal later on that Walker was pretty mid movie. We reveal that Walker was John Lark, so he's one of the apostles that are working for the syndicate and Solomon Lane.
Which is Henry Cavill?
Yeah, and Henry Cavill's turn from both initially I don't like your methods, Hunt, to I don't like you, Hunt, and you're the worst is such a great turn. He kills Alec Baldwin. He stabs him, which is quite a moment. Their showdown. They have this amazing helicopter showdown at the end of the movie where, of course, Tom Cruise flew his helicopter for real. I like to think that he would challenge Henry Cavill to also fly his helicopter. Be like, well, I'm doing it, so you should do it.
You're just going to get a guy to do it, are you? Well, you probably don't even fly as Superman for real either. Lame.
And that fight's pretty amazing. The cable guy moment, if there is one, is Ethan Hunt pulls a cable off a cliff that then hooks into Henry Cavill's head. And he falls down a mountain. So I don't think we'll see.
Damn it.
I don't think we'll see Agent Walker in the next movie, unfortunately.
It could be revealed with some other guy in a mask or something.
This is true. And I believe that Solomon Lane once again survives this movie as well. So they stop this nuclear attack.
The
He
guy
just
who
wants to
doesn't
die.
want to.
Please stop saving
Am I
me.
remembering his voice right? He sort of talks he sort
Yeah.
of whisper talks.
I'm
Hunt,
coming for your wife.
I don't want to see the next movie, Hunt. Please kill me off,
I don't
Hunt.
want to come to the premiere. His wife's back in Act 3. It's revealed that Solomon Lane, he gets away from, after the prison break, he gets away from Hunt and the gang. And they go to, I think it's India. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, Internet. I didn't write this part down.
Amongst big mountains. I think Kashmir is ringing a bell.
Yeah. So
Which is that Pakistan?
I think it's on the border because the Indian army does turn up at the end
Right.
with Angela Bassett's character to the rescue, but a little bit too late because Ethan
Right.
Hunt's already saved the day with Luther and Benji. and Rebecca Ferguson, Ilsa Faust. They all team up to save the day. But also Michelle Monaghan's there as well.
Okay.
And it was like, oh,
Bring your wife to work day.
No, that's why Solomon Lane chose that spot to set off the explosions. Not only because it was bordering these other places, but he made a point to get Michelle Monaghan's character there as because she's a hospital type worker. Like, there's been a smallpox outbreak and you need to help this, and it just happens to be on the border of all these different countries.
Okay.
So Solomon Lane's just like, I hate the fuck out of Ethan Hunt. I can say fuck once in this episode because it's PG-13,
that's fine.
and that was not a sexual fuck as well. So I've said it too many times. But yeah, he hates him that much that he goes to this level of, I'm going to get his wife there. So he's also extra upset. But so she helps Luther defuse the bomb. Everyone is happy. The end ?
Oh.
So we're coming to the end. The next movies. The first trailer has come out for Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Oh my God.
What? So just like the next Fast and the Furious movies are also going to be, I think, filmed back to back and released as a 2-parter.
Okay.
That's what the Mission Impossible movies are doing. So we can surmise as well that this is probably going to be the last outing for old mate Ethan Hunt.
Go out with a double bang.
Go out with a double bang. And of course, like, COVID has disrupted this. So these movies already should have been out. But now I think they're coming out in 2023 in July 2014. And then the following year in June 28. So it's still going to be a little bit of a wait until those movies come out, which is enough time for you to catch up.
Yeah, I've got
on the
plenty of
films.
time.
You've really
I've got enough
whetted
time-
our appetite.
I've got enough time to catch up and then forget the films.
Yeah, which is kind of what I've done.
Yeah.
Because I didn't remember Henry Cavill dying, or
Right.
I couldn't fully remember if he was the guy who turned bad.
Okay.
But I remember loving him.
And I
Okay.
think just like you, Jess, if listeners have gotten this far and have gone, is everything spoiled for me? These are experience movies. So it's like if someone described a roller coaster to you, you wouldn't go, I don't have to ride that roller coaster now.
Yeah.
And
It
if you are,
goes
and
like
if you are
real
that person,
fast and then upside down for a bit, and then you go, woo! You do like a little twist.
imagine being that personality type. We'd go, well, I don't need to do that then, do I?
Fine.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for ruining that roller coaster for me.
Some tiny things. So Christopher McQuarrie is coming back to film these. So like he's sort of become the guy. Hayley Atwell, Agent Carter herself, not Marvel's Agent Carter, not this film series Agent Carter, has joined. No talk about whether those previous cast members, that we talked about, like Paula Patton, are returning, which would be like cool. Just have a sense that maybe this would be your team up movie where everyone sort of comes back to work together on a big mission. But it doesn't seem like that's the case, or at least maybe they're saving that for Dead Reckoning Part 2. Who knows? Tiny bit of trivia. Because I put the trivia all through the rest of the piece. This is pretty much the only trivia that I've saved for the end. George Clooney was offered the part of Ethan Hunt, but turned down to work on One Fine Day. Remember that movie?
The song by Boyz II Men and Mariah Carey. About that?
Bruce Willis, John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, Ray Fiennes, Mel Gibson were all later considered for the part before Tom Cruise got the role.
Wow.
It seems like it's always hard to reimagine something.
Travolta.
But
it's 90s when it started, but it would.
I don't think it'd still be going.
No,
would
it wouldn't have gone.
Can't
as long.
imagine George Clooney still getting around.
Sort of with like the ocean movies. I think if they had continued, they would just be their own thing.
Yeah,
I guess sort of like the different directors that might have got on board, they would have just stayed with the espionage thing rather than the action
Yeah, you're right.
thing. I think most of these guys, it's like with the Ocean's 11 movies, they stayed very much in the heist movies. There's never really many guns in that, if any guns.
No.
So
never
maybe
any
would have just
arms
stayed like
cocking and getting cocked and loaded.
You gotta load your arms. But, and then the tiniest thing, I can answer that question from before. Members of U2 remade the theme song in the first movie.
Okay.
So there you go.
And Metallica, when did they do it? Underrated tune. You remember that one?
No.
What was it called?
I
Not at all.
refuse to tell you.
Yeah.
That's your
Hey,
mission. That's
hey, that one. Here I go now.
Oh, that actually,
ringing any
I did
bells?
read about
No.
that. That
Yeah,
was
right.
the one that sort of sparked that.
I Disappear, it's cool.
It sparked that whole issue with Napster and stuff like that as well. Yeah, that was sort of around that time when Metallica started getting real angry at internet downloads, illegal downloads.
Oh, it's from Mission Impossible 2.
So that's my report on the Mission Impossible series.
I reckon
Well
you probably
done.
got in just under Michelle's time too. Well done.
Yeah, I don't
Put
remember.
it in times 2 speed and we'll be right.
We'll get through there.
Do you have a favourite of the franchise?
I think Rogue Nation... I think for me, Ghost Protocol is my favorite because it's like it started that new era, much in the same way that Fast 5 is probably my favorite.
Right.
But like, I love everything that happens in the movies to follow. Like, they almost feel like their own separate thing. I rewatched all these movies for this report, and they all hold up in their own ways, and they all are interesting in their own ways as well, and seeing how they affect one another. But yeah, Ghost Protocol is just beautifully made. It's just so fun. That's the one. And you could probably argue, and I'm sure there's plenty of things on the internet about this, that if you were hesitant, you probably could start with Ghost Protocol as your first Mission Impossible movie and then jump back.
Yeah, you
to
take
the
out some
first
of the
movie.
sort of dated 90s stuff and...
Yeah, like that's a great way to go, oh, this is what it becomes. Just like you can start the Fast and Furious movies with Fast 5 and then go, all right, let's go back and then enjoy how this sort of all comes together.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
go
think
back
I
to
might.
the prequels.
I think I might. I still haven't done Fast and the Furious since we spoke to Michelle.
Oh my God, she must be furious.
But
and
I'll
fast.
but I'll start at 5. I think.
I started doing it. I started from the beginning and maybe I'll go again starting at 5.
Because it's a heist movie. If you like a
Yeah.
heist movie, it's,
Love a
it's
heist
great.
Yeah, love a
movie.
heist. Love Ocean's 11.
They're
Love a
my
heist.
favourite episodes of this show.
Big time.
Apart from, of course, big franchise recaps.
They are a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's been an absolute thrill to be on this show.
A thrill
thank
to have
me.
you.
Oh, it's been such a thrill to have you. Well, Marcel, thank you so much for joining us here today. Is there any way you can tell people, I've got a gun to your head, so just be careful that you could read this phrase out, which describes your social media.
Yeah, thank you so much. And will there be a countdown at the same time?
I'm cocking my arms and my gun.
Oh, it's very intimidating. So you can find me at Marcel the Comedian that's my website. That's my handle on Instagram.
Sorry I phrased this so awkwardly. Yeah, keep going.
Please don't use my voice for anything. And yeah, if you're in Sydney, I do a series of I do comedy shows, Best Mates Comedy. And if you're everywhere else, follow me. So when I come to your town, I like to travel. You can come and see me do stand-up comedy.
And you bloody should. Do it.
Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
We're going to kick you out before we do everyone's favourite section of the show. Because
That's for us. That's our time.
that thing's our time. And it's got nothing to do with the fact that you need to go now. Well, now it's time for everyone's favourite section of the show where we take about 30 to 40 minutes and thank our great Patreon supporters at patreon.com/dogoonpod. But before we get into that, I probably should introduce our guest. Shane Dunlop, how do you do?
I'm very well, thanks, Matthew.
So Shane is the director of a show we're filming right now called The Beer Pioneer. I guess you're the director, but you're also the concept creator, etc.
Director feels a little bit of an overstatement,
Overstatement.
really.
Producer?
Anyone casually observing any random shoot day of this show would probably say director is a bit of a stretch,
Okay.
wouldn't you say?
No, I don't. I think you're being very humble there, or maybe you're just trying to get away from any criticism.
Yeah.
Once the show comes out,
My hands are off the wheel here.
Yeah.
And this is not my responsibility.
So where are we now?
We are in Mataranka, specifically the Mataranka homestead, which is somewhere in between Alice Springs and Catherine.
Right, and it's got tropical. It's winter time in Australia, but we're in shorts and thongs, and the air conditioning's on. It is freaking hot outside.
It is muggy, yes.
We've been down to the natural springs earlier today.
Had a dip.
It's been lovely, yeah. So having a great time. We're into the last week now. We'll be in Darwin over the next few days, and when's this show coming out?
We're hoping that we'll have it ready for eyeballs around the summertime. Hopefully this side of Christmas.
What's the show's concept?
Yeah, basically it's you as the host, and it's loosely a travel show, loosely a history show, loosely a comedy, and we also with beer as the backdrop, essentially. So, series 1, we visited a whole bunch of craft beer breweries because that was a lot easier to do in Victoria, where it was mostly set. We've been going from Adelaide to Darwin, so we've had to slightly shift that a little bit to be more visiting hotels, pubs, roadhouses, that sort of thing. But that's essentially it.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a fun watch.
It's been fun to make.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to make. Yeah, so yeah, like you say, I guess if you're not a beer lover, hopefully that doesn't really
I don't think it'll
that
matter,
much.
no.
We do talk a little bit about beer, but even less than the first season, probably.
Yeah, it's completely different to the sort of beer nerd vibe of series 1. It'll still be enough for, I think, the people who like that kind of vibe, but certainly this is more, I think it's really more just a travel show starring Matt Stewart, essentially.
Bloody hell, that sounds pretty good. I'd watch that. No, I probably would not. But do you want to do the fact quote or question jingle?
I won't be doing that, Matt.
Okay, great. I'll have a go. I've heard it enough. Fact, quote, or question. Ding. He always remembers the ding. Anyway, so in this part of the show, Shane, fact, quote, or question section, some of our supporters have written in with questions, suggestions, facts. You probably figured that out.
Yeah.
From the name of the segment. And I'm going to read them out now. The first one comes from Shannon Burns. Can only assume Burnsy from the Cats. Shannon Burns still play for the Cats? I don't know. Anyway, they also get to give themselves a title, and Shannon's got the title of slightly sarcastic and passive-aggressive customer service rep. Awesome. All right, Shannon. Looking forward to your question here. Shannon writes, "Hey, Matt, Dave and Jess. You're Dave and Jess today.
Okay.
Thanks for consistently making informative and entertaining shows." I mean, that's a pretty big compliment.
No, well, thank you. Thank you.
I always feel good reading out compliments to me. And I always feel very comfortable with it. I have a question for you. What is the weirdest or most random coincidence that has happened to you? And I always ask the question asker to give an answer. It's fun. I reckon this question's come up before. But anyway, here's Shannon's answer. I was walking on a nature path in my town playing Pokemon Go.
Okay.
While listening to your Super Bowl episode. Oh, that means that was you're playing Pokemon Go still, and I love that about you, Shannon. Some people, thought that was a bit of a fad from 5 years ago. I'm with you. Okay, let's keep. I haven't even started playing it yet. That's how far behind I am, but I want to. I reckon. You know what? I think Shannon wrote in this question a couple of months ago, and it got cut off halfway, so it was leaving us hanging on this anecdote. So I can't wait to hear the end of it. All right, so Shannon, walking along, playing Pokemon Go, listening to the Super Bowl episode, and then I mentioned that during one halftime show, the main entertainment was a frisbee catching dog named Ashley Whippet. Then less than a minute later, Shannon walked past a Pokemon gym and decided to look at the players who had Pokemon there. One of the players was called, I kid you not, Ashley Whippets.
Whoa.
It was so weird and mildly freaky that I had to tell a couple of friends about it, who were similarly weirded out. That is, I mean, I don't think I've heard of a niche coincidence.
Well, what's a Pokemon gym?
I wish the two nerds of the show were here because they would have been able to explain it. Dave and Jess, massive Pokemon. I shouldn't say nerds, fans. They're Pokemon gym junkies.
Right. Yeah.
But I think not like us. We're just sort of weightlifting, pumping iron. How much do you bench? That sort of is a lot of the small talk we make.
Yeah.
But I think what they are is
you train. You go and train.
Maybe you train your monsters there. Your pocket monsters.
Are they monsters? A
Pokemon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I learned that from Dave.
Oh, right.
I think Pikachu's one of them.
Right.
Mewtwo is one of them as well.
The band.
Mewtwo.
Oh, Mewtwo.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, you were thinking of Bono and the Boys.
Yeah. The Edge.
They're not involved.
Okay.
The other two.
Larry and Greg. No, what's the...
Larry. Yeah, Larry Mullins Jr.
And what's the fourth one?
Oh,
it's not Greg.
That poor bastard.
I want it to be Greg.
You two.
Adam.
Yes, Adam Clayton.
There we go.
You're right.
Yeah. Do they go to Pokemon?
Are you talking you two to me?
I wish.
That is a wild that is a wild coincidence, Shannon. I'm glad we finally got to the bottom of it. I've been sitting on the edge of my seat for the last few months waiting for that stunning conclusion. Coincidences, do you have any?
Well, this is in my entire life or more recently?
Yeah, both. Or either.
Well, I'll go with the more recent one.
Okay.
That occurred on this very trip. We were always planning on coming to Mataranka Homestead for a scheduled day off.
That doesn't count as a coincidence.
No.
We were planning to be here and now we're here. There needs to be a second.
There is more.
Oh, there is a second. Okay.
And simultaneously to that plan being made, I'd been talking to a man who claims to be, and I think is, so let's say he's not, that made it sound like as if it's a...
You're doubting it.
Yeah, a ridiculous claim. No, he is probably...
Probably, you're still putting
Well, I
all
haven't
down
fact-checked it. I need to do some more research. Australia's premier whip-cracking entertainer.
Are you talking about Whippy?
Nathan Whippy Griggs. They're the very
Nathan
one and the
Whippy
same.
Griggs.
And I thought it would be fun to have Nathan or Whippy step you through some good old-fashioned whip-cracking exercises as part of the show. So we were exchanging information, logistical bits and pieces. And he said, well, I'm going to be in Mataranka on the 7th. If you're in town, let's do something. I said, crazy, we're rolling into Mataranka on the 7th. And he said, well, come and see me. I'll be playing here. And as it turns out, that's the exact same place that we booked our accommodation.
Oh, that was... So we didn't book... I assumed we booked to be here when he was going to be here.
No.
Oh, wow, that is...
We'd booked here, and then Whippy came along and coincidentally was playing or whipping only several meters from where we were going to be sleeping.
You know, I was just about to say this is not quite at the same level as the Ashley Whippet coincidence. Holy shit!
Yeah.
The coincidence that Shannon talked about is about a dog called a Whippet.
Yep.
Your coincidence is about a man called Whippy.
Yep.
Is this also a coincidence?
I think it is.
I think we've just had a coincidence collision.
Yeah, which
Whoa.
has
Holy
blown my
shit.
mind.
That has
I'm
blown
going to
my
take
mind.
a sip and take a deep breath.
What a Whippy. It was fun. I got called up into the show. He whipped around me for a bit.
Yeah.
He whipped for an hour.
It was a long show.
It was a long whipping,
A lot of cracking.
festivity. He's in the official. I mean, probably we haven't checked this either, but
Yeah.
he told us, and he said in the show that he's in the Guinness World Book of Records
3 times, I believe.
which is one of the favourite books.
The
of
most
the show.
cracks with one whip.
Yeah,
in a
one-handed
minute.
crack.
The most two whips. Most cracks with 2 whips per minute.
And also the
And
longest.
the longest whip.
He built. He
100-meter whip.
made the longest whip of all time.
It's in the kiosk if you want to go.
And I do want to go and have a look at it. And I think to legitimise it, it had to be whipped. So he had to whip this 100-meter whip.
I know it's
At the end of the show, he took us into the car park and
yeah.
sort of in a shady corner of this resort,
Yeah.
I was being taught
Cracking
how to
the whip at like 10 o'clock at night
Well,
when people are trying to
like
sleep.
11 o'clock, yeah.
Can we talk about how it ended with you and Whippy?
If you want to. I mean,
Well, who's this going out to? Whippy's not going to hear it. Is Whippy going to hear it?
if Whippy makes it this far into the episode, most of our listeners don't.
You wanted a photo with Whippy at the end of it.
Yeah.
We'd had a fun time with him. Perhaps we were over extending the welcome.
Yeah, maybe.
And when I took a photo of the two of you, I think, wanted to... you requested somebody else take a photo because they'd been
Another
taking...
member of the crew's got a great phone for so I called him over and Whippy said, nah, that's enough for me, boys.
Yeah, I'm done, fellas. Yeah. Just didn't want to have anything more to do with it.
Yeah,
basically.
that's right. He said, I'm going to the bar.
Yeah.
So he's like... I thought...
Ended on a real sour note.
It was an unfortunate end to what was before that a pretty fun
whip
time.
cracking good
It was a
time.
whip cracking. I thought when the whips were cracking he'd be there, but it turns out he wouldn't.
No.
No,
it was a lot of fun. Deep down, I kind of respected it
I kind of respected it, but I also enjoy meeting people and
and being polite.
being polite.
All right, man, I'm done. No, seriously, man, I'm done.
Nah, good on him. Good on you, Whippy. All right, let's thanks so much, Shannon Burns, for that whip cracking fact or question.
Do you insert sound effects? Because you really should.
If you can do a live one, that'd be great. Thank you. The next one comes from Detective Herbert Covington. I've just lost him. He, AKA retired push-up specialist, due to being shit at push-ups. Yeah, you will retire from something like that if you're not good at the thing. The good detective has a suggestion, which reads like this. Hey, gang. Hopefully this fact, quote, or question finds you well. I should say the other two, Jess is in Melbourne having a great time, having a few weeks off. Dave is currently in Morocco, I believe.
I saw that. I saw he's somewhere to do with the set of The Mummy.
Yeah, that's right. And he's a big mummy head, so...
Is that the official term?
Yeah. Big mummy head. So it's good to see photos, because I think in recent weeks, and maybe in some of the episodes we've recorded for coming weeks, we weren't sure if he was alive, but we did wish him all the best. So anyway, the great detective says that he hopes he finds us well, full of pies, beers, and coffee abundant. I have a suggestion, a song from a video game called Persona 5 Strikers called Rivers in the Desert by Lynn. Wow, where are we in the desert still? Because we were swimming in a desert river just before.
I believe it's an arid zone.
Okay.
I've just heard that a lot on this trip, and I like saying it.
Yeah, arid zone is better than desert. I also learnt a tip at one of the desert pubs we were in when the chef was about to bring over dessert. Yeah. And he said, what was the... double S is sweet stuff.
Sweet stuff.
So that's how you know it's for dessert.
Yeah.
Double S, sweet stuff.
It was a game changer.
That was a big game changer. And I reckon we've changed some games for the people at home right now as well. Are you familiar with the Rivers in the Desert by Lynn?
It's a video game?
No, it's a song in a video game.
Oh, well, definitely not.
I haven't heard. Well, we will check it out in the van. We've been pumping the tunes in the van, so we'll get that on there tomorrow. The message continues. All of the tracks on the album are great, ranging from absolute headbangers to groovy ones you could vibe to on a train. What about a road train? Because we're seeing a lot of those out here. But the guitar riff that this track opens with instantly made me think of Matt and Sam. Big Listen Now vibes. Rest in peace. I should say, Detective, Listen Now will come back. The Stupid Old Studio is going to be ready to go, I think, when we finish filming Beer Pioneer. And I'm going to hopefully catch up with Sam to finish season 2. Anyway, he suggests we should check it out, and we will do. We'll check that out after... I'll play it in the van tomorrow.
Let's play it. I think you're going to be driving us to Catherine.
Oh, great.
Let's start the day tomorrow with
that album.
Playing
that sounds fantastic. Great tip. Thank you very much, Detective. Funnily enough, Shane thought Cold Chisel was a little screamy.
No, in the 5th hour of a 5-hour journey, you don't need screaming.
You did make it through about an hour of Barnsey.
Well, I was
screaming over the
hillsides. I needed
the
energy that he was providing, but then there's a tipping point where it becomes too much.
Thank you, Detective. The next one comes from Jess Green, aka collector of fine matching tracksuit sets. Oh, Jess, if you have any spares, I'd love to get involved. A matching tracksuit. I never thought I had the confidence to pull it off, but I don't. I'm getting to the point where I don't care anymore. Yeah. Jess has a fact writing. I'm not sure if this is a fact, which is a strong start for a fact, I think. This sounds like how you'd present a fact. Yeah. You did that just earlier. I'm not sure if this is a fact, but it's definitely interesting. I am a new listener to the pod. Shout out to Sammy P from the Confessions of the Idiot podcast for the recommendation, / all the funny episodes you three have been on. You're a friend of Sammy P.
Love Sammy P.
Welcome to the show, Jess. That's very cool. And thanks, Sammy, for sending Jess over. Jess continues. I've recently gone back and listened to the Tromp Family Mystery episode. Oh my God, there's a weird coincidence here because I remember vividly that in that episode we talked about Pokemon Go. Whoa. The
Tromp family?
Tromp. So there were, you'd vaguely remember it. It was about 5 years ago. This family in Victoria just hit the road. They left their whole life behind, and no one in the family seemed to know why. It was like they were on the run, but they didn't know why.
Right.
And it's just sort of this episode, and they kept splitting off from each other. One of the daughters ended up in the back of this guy, just climbed into this guy's ute, and he was driving through outside of Goulburn, and he looked around, and was like, who's that? It was a really strange story. Anyway, so Jess has just listened to that episode. and continues by saying, where they lived is very, very close to where my partner grew up and lived until he was 18. So I asked him if he'd heard of the story. He said, nah, it doesn't ring a bell. So I proceed to tell him the story. He cuts me off about 10 seconds in and says, oh yeah, I know this story. I knew them. I went to school with them. I went to their house a few times. Do you know the Trump family? This big story? Nah, never heard of it. Well, anyway, the Trump family, they were in the... I know.
But it could have been... I mean, when you first said it, I heard Trump.
Right.
And if you had have asked me, do I know the Trump family? I would have said no.
But if you were from
and then
their
you started
town...
telling the story of the Trump family.
But he was from that town.
I know, but, you know, it can happen.
I mean, it can happen. It can happen if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, be careful out there. You know what I mean? A lot of people are going around going, I hear Trump. It doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter.
Listen carefully.
Hey, just stay vigilant. Anyway, so Jess says, excited for the potential inside knowledge. All he could say was that they seemed nice and normal and nothing seemed off. Unfortunately, this is still a mystery episode. Although he did say that their table wasn't covered with passports, cards, etc. when he was there. So when the house was found, their whole life was just sort of neatly piled. They left their passports, credit cards. They didn't take anything with them. So it's a very strange story.
Did they ever get found?
Yeah, they did. One by one, they got found, and they sort
never
of just
explained it?
basically just snapped out of it, whatever it was. Really, really strange. But that's wow. That would have given me chills, Jess, if I had that interaction with your partner, which is pretty unlikely. I don't know the man. Jess finishes with a little question here. Have you had any weird connections to any of the reports you've done? I'm trying to think. I did a bonus episode about Tony Plugger Lockett, and I watched him play a bunch of games.
Yeah.
It's a pretty loose connection. No, I don't think I've been directly connected to any episodes. Sorry, Jess, but that... I think, yeah, you'd trump me anyway. Certainly never that close. You would have trumped me anyway. See,
it's very easy mistake to make.
Dave calls me the pun king, but I don't see him. They're right in front of me. I never see him.
Right.
Dave's the pun master.
Okay.
That was right there. How did I miss that?
Well,
anyway,
that's why I'm here.
That's why you're filling in for Dave the pun master and Jess.
Yeah.
Final Fact Quota question comes from Bracken Markins. Fantastic name, Bracken.
Yeah.
Bracken has given themselves the title of Chief Marketing Officer of the Give Your Kids Normal Names Society. I mean, Bracken, we were just saying how much we loved it. I live in the very opposite camp of please give your kids some slightly interesting names. Matt Stewart is very boring. And there's hundreds of Matt Stewarts in the club with me. Bracken has a fact. Writing Shane Dunlop also. I reckon it's a couple of rungs above Matt Stewart for interest, but it's still relatively plain.
There are no Shanes under the age of 40.
That's true. Shane is an old man's name.
Yeah, it's becoming so.
Oh, Shane's dying off.
Yeah, but they're ready for a comeback, I think.
Yeah, I reckon. Ready for a little bounce. Maybe your appearance
this
on the Fact Quota question
start.
section might...
Well, I like Bracken.
I reckon Bracken's fantastic.
Yeah.
Braxy.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Remember there was the old Australian fast bowler Nathan Bracken. That was a surname.
Yeah, okay.
But as a first name, even better.
Yep.
Bracken writes, comedy is old. This is a fact. And there's no doubt in Bracken's mind about this. No qualifiers.
Right.
The first known example of a, quote, walks into a bar joke is written in Sumerian from Sumer. Or is that Sumer or Summer? Sumer.
Yeah.
The world's first civilization, 4500 to 1900 BC. It reads, a dog walked into a tavern and said, I can't see a thing. I'll open this one. Something, it seems, may have been lost in translation. I'm like, oh man, I don't get it. But apparently it is, maybe it's not that gettable. A dog walked into a tavern and said, I can't see a thing. I'll open this one. Oh
yeah, wow.
Thank you so much to Bracken, Jess, Herbert, and Shannon. The next thing we like to do, Shane, don't think this is over yet. The next thing we like to do is thank a few of our other great supporters from the last little while. Normally, Jess comes up with a little game related to the topic. So the episode that we're coming in at the end of now was the history of the Mission Impossible franchise.
Okay.
And yeah, so I was thinking maybe, and we're on the the Beer Pioneer shoot. So maybe for each name I read out, you can give them a Tom Cruise role or film and pair that with a beer. So I'm watching Top Gun.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, don't use that one.
No.
But I'm going to pair that with a can of Melbourne bitter, but you got to shotgun it,
Right.
poke a hole.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Or whatever. You can take it wherever you want to go.
Yep.
All right. So first up, I'd love to thank from location unknown. We can only assume.
Is it one of the Trumps?
It could be one of the Trumps. They're very shady.
Yeah.
I was going to say slimy.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Could be.
Very slippery. But we can only assume coming from deep within the fortress of the mole. And I, for one, would like to welcome our future mole overlords. Is it like you realise as you're talking to someone who doesn't listen to the show how bizarre a lot of this must sound? Anyway, I'd love to thank Chloe Button. What's Chloe Button? What's her Tom Cruise film? What beer
Chloe
are they
Button.
pairing it with?
Okay.
Great name right off the bat.
Yeah.
As all our listeners.
Right.
Beautifully named people.
I'm going to say...
Not their value.
Chloe Button, it's a lovely name. I'm going to go with Far and Away.
Oh, yes.
I believe the film...
With Nicole Kidman.
And Tom Cruise.
I remember watching this a long time ago. The basic gist of it is that whatever country they're in...
He's a bare-knuckled boxer, isn't he?
Oh, I don't remember. All I remember is it was a race and you could go grab your own patch of land. If you got there first, you got to claim it.
Yeah, they were Irish.
Right. Was it in Ireland? Or are they coming to America or something?
Possibly, yeah. It was old-timey.
Yeah.
Was
Tom Cruise pulling off an Irish accent?
He might have been. Or he might have just been doing his accent.
Like he did in that Nazi movie.
Yeah. It's been a while since I watched it, but I've picked that movie for unknown reasons. And I'm gonna pair that with because it's a bit old timey. I'm gonna pair that with a wheat ale. A
wheat ale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It feels like maybe in the film they probably grow wheat.
Yeah. Something sort of very old timey.
Yeah.
Stout even.
Yeah, well, they're Irish, right?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
That's according to your vague memory?
Yeah, I think so.
I think maybe when
I just remember bare-knuckle boxing.
Bare-knuckle boxing. I remember that there was like a shotgun start. Everyone goes...
shirtless?
And there was a penny farthing in the race against all these horse and carts, and the penny farthing did not do well.
Yeah.
I might be making up that memory.
That
doesn't ring any bells.
No.
Thank you so much, Chloe. The next one... comes from Tacoma in Washington in the United States. Maybe people who've got their addresses down might help you with a beer selection or a movie choice.
Yeah, okay.
From Tacoma in Washington, it's Marcus Mota.
Marcus Mota, that's another great name.
I'm telling you, they're all great names, Shane.
Yeah, okay.
They're also all very hot. Not their value, but they are. Everyone who listens to this show, especially the supporters on Patreon,
okay, well,
hot, beautiful
Marcus
people.
Mota, I'm going to use the name for inspiration and go with Days of Thunder.
Yeah. Is that Ricky Bobby?
No,
that's
no, I forget his name in that.
Cold Thunder?
That's
Cold
actually
Trickle.
That's something
actually
like that.
I
think you're right, which is a ridiculous name. And I think it's also the movie where he met and fell in love with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, you've gone back to back. Tom and Nicole.
I feel
it's
a classic.
Two?
No,
Eyes Wide Shut.
You're right. Yeah, that's the
that's
trilogy.
The trio.
Yeah.
The Tomcat trilogy.
Yeah.
What's her name? Tom Kid.
Yeah. And I think with this, I'm going to go with one of the... I'll let you pick which one, but I'm going to go with the Sierra Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
What would you choose from there?
Oh, they're classic pale.
Yeah.
Ale.
That feels like a good combo.
Yeah, that's a great combo. And that's a beer that people say really started this most recent craft beer boom.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I just realised there another coincidence that this Tom Cruise-based episode has just come out. And last week we went to a Tom Cruise museum, a different Tom Cruise, at the Marie Hotel. There was a Tom Cruise museum.
Was there?
You didn't go in there?
I was putting petrol in the camper.
Oh, okay, right.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, it's spelled with a Z, but he was he was a bit of an explorer as well.
Okay.
Did we film it? Yeah, we filmed me wandering around and
excellent.
Yeah. So the coincidence is coming out the frickin' wazoo today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marcos. Next one comes from Sydney. Wait, this says Sydney in the ACT. Is there a little Sydney in ACT? Anyway, from Sydney in the ACT in Australia, Clancy Greening.
Another great name.
And I mean, we probably can stop saying it because they're all great, but frickin' hell, the quality is high today.
Yeah. Love it. Right. Is there more facts before I pick?
No.
Clancy. Okay. Because it doesn't sound like Clancy. Clancy might be the opposite of a name that I would suggest would be a risk taker.
Oh yeah.
I could be wrong.
Maybe in some sort of business
that
involves.
So I'm going to go with just because of that. I'm going to go with risky business. And
a movie I've never seen it, but a movie I assume
does not
Tom
stand
Cruise
up to modern
in jocks.
No, yeah, well that's
and
it's
sliding on socks. Is that the whole film?
No,
it's not all sliding around on
it's
socks.
It's actually quite terrible.
With
his parents go away.
Bob Seger playing in the background.
Yeah, and he turns his house basically into a brothel.
Okay.
Yeah, for like a weekend, and then he he drives his parents' car into a river and.
That is risky business.
Yeah, they're not mucking around.
What a concept for a film.
And just I guess with that, then we'll go back to not taking any risks, and we'll have a non-alcoholic, refreshingly. What is it? Heaps Normal.
Oh, Heaps Normal. Yeah.
So we'll go with a non-risky sounding name, risky business.
The Heaps Normal, the XPA.
Yeah, I reckon.
Oh, delicious. Non-alcoholic beer.
Don't know if that was logical at all, but
I think it's perfect logic. I'm with you all the way. But I remember being in one of the lockdowns. I was sent a box of beer, which I think it maybe got sent to the Stubell Studios or something, and for whatever reason, I only found it last month, and I opened it up, and it was like an original, like a test version of Heaps Normal.
Right.
I was sent to me to sample.
Because of the show or because of your
I think because of the show, yeah.
Right. Wow.
And I'm like, shit, holy shit. That's become a booming business. Hopefully that I didn't see if there was a letter in there, but it'd be funny. There's a letter in there. Hey, if you want, you can have some shares in this company.
Yeah.
It'd be worth a fortune now. But yeah, a great non-alcoholic beer. Next person again comes from address unknown, assumed from deep within the fortress of the moles. Mary de Groot.
Okay.
And I mean, I feel like
we've now got to say every time now.
I know, because I mean,
great name. Yeah, great.
That is obviously a great name.
It is. Yeah.
Mary de Groot.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's
anything
a
with a
de
in front is always.
And Groot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd take that any which way. Groot to Mary.
Yeah.
To Mary Groot. Groot Mary de. I think I think it's in the perfect order as is.
Yep.
So what's Mary watching? What's Mary drinking?
Yeah. Okay.
You running out of cruise?
No. I'm just kind of I'm really sort of going through the back catalogue as I.
It's good you're here
because
is Dave hates Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah, he can't stand him. I'm a big fan.
I've come around.
Yeah, I've come right around.
Yeah. Well. I'm going to go with. All right, I'm going to try something here. So I'm going to go with Vanilla Sky.
Okay.
Because beers. You can get some sort of vanilla-y notes in beers these days, or they try to sort of do that sort of strong flavoured beers. Help me out with
I'll
something
quick
here.
Google it. Vanilla beer.
Yeah, just something. Something that's got that sort of flavour note to it.
Yeah, what's I'm blanking.
We had as part of this show, we went to the Big Shed and they do the
Quiet Deeds Vanilla Porter.
There we go.
That's my favourite brewery, probably.
Yeah.
And I'd really love you to work our show down back into Melbourne.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never visited, but I do love... I mean, I've got a lot of favourite brewers, but they're definitely one of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just something
A
sort
vanilla
of in
porter.
that... Well, something
Delicious.
that's got that sort of vibe going on. So we obviously went to a place that does a stout based on the Golden Gaytime ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. Sort
Big
of that
Shed
kind
Brewery.
of ice creamy, the creamy sort of
Yeah.
stouty porter
That was a
vibe.
dessert stout, that
Yeah.
one was. Was the Golden Stout time.
And I think with was it Mary?
Mary, yeah.
Mary de Groot. It just feels like a flavorful package.
The next one, I think I'm going to break my own rule of not going over 40 minutes today because we've been having such a good time here,
Yeah.
Shane.
Sorry, Matt.
No, I'm not blaming you in any way. And people can just stop listening.
Yeah.
That's the thing I don't understand about the people who complain
stay
about...
to the end.
They complain about this section going too long.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
There's a
Okay.
stop button.
Yeah, yeah.
Move on with your life.
It's very hard to
Don't
do that,
hate
though.
listen.
You've got to see it through.
Now, talking about good names, this can't be on the birth certificate, but let's see. From Roseville in Minnesota in the United States, it's Not a Cat.
Okay.
That's
a name?
the name. I assume,
not
to
a
me,
cat.
this is a cat being defensive, right?
Okay.
Certainly not a cat, if that's what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would name myself if I was a cat who was trying to make people think I wasn't a cat, which I assume is probably what that is what they're going for.
Yep.
So what is Not a Cat? What do you think of cattish beers?
It's tough.
What about a movie? Did he play Cat in a Hat? No, that was Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Tom Cruise in
No.
such a role?
No. Yes, I'm trying to think of a Tom Cruise sort of... I don't even think he's
Animal,
voiced
right.
any animated animals. I could be wrong here. So instead, I think I'm going to go... Wow, gosh. This is tricky.
What about? Did he ever do a movie with his ex-wife Kat, whatever her name was? Because wasn't he in a Tomcat relationship at one point? Am I thinking of something else?
No.
Katie Holmes.
Yeah. Were they called Tomcat?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. That feels like a distant memory.
What do we? I'm just doing a quick Google here.
I don't think that... Were they in a movie together?
They were in Going Clear, Scientology, and The Prison of Belief.
Okay. Well, I feel like perhaps that might work in this instance because we don't have a lot of information to go on with the name.
Yeah. Apart
and
from them not being a cat.
not being a cat. And the only cat sort of related beer is Tiger.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah.
But
Tiger-
then she's
where's
saying
Tiger
not a
from?
cat. I think it's Malaysia.
Malaysia.
I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But she's or he or they are saying that they are not a cat.
Not a cat.
So maybe we should.
Oh no, they wouldn't want to be.
No.
They wouldn't want.
So what's
tiger.
the opposite of a
Like
cat?
the
A
opposite
dog.
of a cat is a
Is
dog.
there a dog?
Yeah,
a dog beer?
Moondog.
Moondog. So let's go with the
in-
Moondog.
in Melbourne.
And last time I was at Moondog, I enjoyed their alcoholic ginger beer.
Oh,
So
love a ginger beer.
I'm going to lay that one on and pair that with the Scientology movie.
A fantastic choice and a beautiful,
Refreshing, if anything.
Yeah, Not a Cat's gonna have a lovely time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Not a Cat. Next one comes from Cambridge in Great Britain, which is that big uni town, isn't it? Cambridge.
I think so.
Vicky H.
Ooh.
Or Vicky H, depending on
Yeah, okay. Vic.
hey, where you're from.
Yeah.
Vicky H.
All right. I'm thinking Minority Report.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking
I started
of-
watching that recently. I haven't seen it before.
I'm thinking of a long, hard day
Yeah.
filming a beer-related TV show.
So you want a lawnmower type beer?
You've
Is that what
hopped
you're
yourself. That's right. You've hopped yourself into a thermal pool,
saying? Yes. Like you're
Like
one
they-
of those brains.
like they did in Minority Report,
the ones who see the future.
and you've got yourself a refreshing lager
Oh yeah.
just to wash the day down.
Maybe the Cooper Pedy lager?
Cooper Pedy Big Shed collab.
Collab.
I reckon that's the go.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
A nice warm bath
Yep.
and a nice cold beer,
Perfect. Bloody ripper.
and seeing murders before they happen.
Bloody unreal. Thank you, Vicky. Next one comes from another address unknown. Kate Rue. R-O-O, Kate Rue.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, what has he done any movies set in Australia?
Well, I think the Mission Impossible. That's my Sean Connery.
Yeah.
I believe wasn't the third in the franchise film
one of them, the
entirely in
worst one
Australia.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one that everyone seems to think was shit.
Yeah. Didn't it have Philip Seymour Hoffman in that? Wasn't it a
He's great.
tour de force?
But also, what's the guy that plays Rake? Great Aussie actor.
Yeah.
He was in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Was Phelpsy in it?
Oh, Phelpsy should have been
I've
in
seen
it. If
around.
not, why
Phelpsy.
not?
Yeah. Gary Sweet.
Oh, Gary Sweet's got to be there somewhere. Tony Martin.
Yeah. The other Tony Martin.
The other Tony, not
Yeah.
comedy great Tony Martin.
I really don't know if there is an Australian Tom Cruise movie. I bet you there has to be. So I'm not going to say any of those. I'm going to go with. Oh gosh, it's starting to get a little bit tricky.
So what are you thinking? What about what about the recent Maverick one?
No, so where are we? We're
We got the last one here,
right?
Katie
Okay.
Rue.
Yeah,
I mean Rue Qantas,
yeah.
Rain Man,
Rain
the
Man.
famous Qantas scene.
Thank you for the assist there.
I'm not going to fly.
Yeah, no, that's
via
perfect.
Melbourne.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. You've done
The
it.
flying kangaroo.
You've connected the dots, and I think you're then go for a beer now that you would order on a plane.
Oh yeah.
So an international, one of your classic international
I'm picturing a
beers.
Heineken
Yeah,
or
Carlsberg or something.
one of those green bottles that
and
tastes
a
like
smaller
sort of tastes like wet coins.
Yeah,
Those beers.
yeah, but in a small, similar to the can I've got in front of me now, a small
the
travel
tiny cans.
can that really makes that whenever you have one of those travel cans, you know you're traveling, you know you're going somewhere fun.
And those beers, I don't know what they all taste. They taste slightly weird, but I still like that taste.
Yep.
At times, can't drink it too much. But,
No.
thank you, Kate Rue. Next one comes from Matt Cosby from Rockmart in Georgia in the United States.
Great.
Got a bit to work with there. Rockmart, Georgia.
Yeah.
Matt Cosby, United States. Home of Hollywood. He made a lot of movies in Hollywood, I reckon.
Yeah. In which case, and I'm not sure. It may have been filmed in this general area. I'm not sure. Some of it at least. Going to go with Tropic Thunder.
Oh, yes. Wasn't there an Australian in that? I think maybe the guy with Junior at the end of his name played an Australian.
Robert Downey Jr.
Jr.
There's controversial character work in, I think. So we're going Tropic Thunder. We're going to go with a tropical flavored sour. So something like a passion fruit sour.
Oh yeah, maybe like the passion fruit goes from Brisbane at the
or we could go with a season 1 thing and go with a passion fruit sour from Two Bays.
Oh yeah,
which
choice.
Was
the
gluten free
brewery.
Yeah,
they're now doing a stout.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of a gluten free stout before.
Well,
they must be close to leading the world in gluten free beers.
Yeah.
I ended up going back there to do a gig.
No, with Richard.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun time. Had a few bloody gluten freebies and they were delicious.
Gluten freebies. Okay.
Finally, I'd love to thank from Kelvin Grove in Queensland, Australia, Flick French. The names do not stop. Flick French.
Flick French.
Sounds like an ace pilot from World War II.
It does. Yeah. Okay. I'm really trying to find something here, and I must admit I'm starting to get to the fringes of my Tom Cruise back catalogue
because he made a lot of films.
He's made thousands of them. But how do we connect Flick French to a Tom Cruise classic?
I'll just say he did Cocktail with Brian Brown.
Yeah, that's
American.
I've got it, and we're going to go with something a little bit different. Maybe not a beer. We're going to go with Cocktail.
Oh, yes.
And
Brian Brown, my favourite colour, of course.
We will have a French martini.
Oh, shaken not struck.
Yeah. just to top it off. Move away from the beers.
Yeah. A bit of a nightcap.
Have a nightcap.
Because this is the last one you got to come up with.
Yeah. Thank you.
A fantastic combination there. Flick French with a
French
cocktail
martini
for the French martini. Thank you so much to Flick, Matt, Kate, Vicky, Not a Cat, Mary, Clancy, Marcus, and Chloe. And the last thing, Shane, we like to do is welcome a few people into the Triptych Club. These are supporters who've been with us for 3 straight years at the shout-out level or above. And the way we thank them is there's a multitude of ways. Once you're in, it's a one-way ticket. You're not allowed to leave even if you wanted to.
Oh, goodness.
So normally Jess would come up with a cocktail based on the topic. Maybe we could just serve everyone tonight. Maybe could get the French martinis.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think that makes sense.
Maybe even the bar includes all 9 of the drinks you've just suggested.
Yep.
Dave also books a band.
Okay.
Often coincidentally has something to do with the topic, not always.
Okay.
So what band have you got playing the after party tonight at the Triptych Club?
Has Tom Cruise ever done? He's not really. He's not one of those actors that has
a Keanu or Johnny Depp.
But I kind of feel like he'd
Rusty.
appreciate that. So yeah, let's go with a Keanu. Was it Dogstar?
Dogstar.
Yeah.
Maybe supported by 10 odd foot of grunt or whatever.
Yeah, 30 odd foot of grunt.
30 odd foot of grunt. I don't want to sell Russell short there.
And there's got to be more. We'll get Kevin Costner.
He had a band.
He's still out doing gigs.
No kidding.
Yeah. Bit of country and western.
Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah.
Jeez, we're going to have a little festival. Festival actor musos.
Yep. I think that would actually go down a storm.
Maybe one of in reverse. We could have Huey Lewis, who did a little bit of acting, but
with
more famous for
the news.
With or without the news. Yeah. Maybe with Gwyneth Paltrow singing a duet.
Yeah, that's a playlist category that you could get around.
Yeah, we got to get that going to the van tomorrow.
Musicians who've become actors,
yes,
or done some acting,
yeah,
and vice versa.
I love that. I reckon we get that going for the trip tomorrow. All right, so we've got 6 people inducted here, and Shane, your work is not done. What Dave,
this is intense.
Dave, the pun master, would normally do here is I read out the name. You're basically on stage. This is sort of theatre of the mind. You're on the stage in the Triptych Club. I'm on the door. I'm the bouncer. I've got the clipboard. I've got the door list. Yep. I'm telling a lot of people not in those shoes. Sorry, mate. There's a guest list tonight. That sort of stuff. But these 6 names are on the list. I'm going to read them out. Lift up the velvet rope. Welcome them in. As I say the name, then Dave, normally, you're the MC. You're hyping them up. And everyone who's already inducted and is being held sort of against their will, they're applauding and cheering.
Okay.
He would normally work with like what I would call a really weak pun based on their name or where they're from.
Okay.
But you don't have to do that. You can just hype them up in any way you like.
Okay.
There's no bad answers here. And you could not do it any worse than Dave.
Okay. Let's see.
It's just laying the boots. I do this when he's here as well.
Yeah.
It's a little joke I do that I pretend he's doing a worse job than he is.
Okay.
Because he's obviously fantastic. He's the pun master.
No, I love him.
All right, so 6 names. You ready to go? We keep the pace up. I hit you with them. And
Let's go.
First thoughts come out. All right, from location unknown, it's Vivian Zhang.
The Zhangameister.
Oh, welcome in from Mount Waverley in Victoria, Australia. It's Kate Doherty.
Doherty.
From Mattingley in Victoria, Australia, it's Alison Ramsey.
The Rambona.
From Orlando, Florida in the United States, it is Candace Suda.
Sudia.
From Fisher in the Australian Capital Territory, it's Hannah White.
Whitey.
And from Indianapolis in Indiana, not too far from the God's country, greatest city in the world, Gary, Indiana, it's Steve Baker.
Baker boy.
Welcome in, Steve, Hannah, Candace, Alison, Kate, and Vivian. Make yourselves at home. Grab one of the 9 drinks on offer. Enjoy the little music festival that's coming up. Shane, thanks so much for joining us and helping me. I was going to be doing that by myself, so I really appreciate you sitting in the sidecar here.
Well, yeah, it's a real pleasure. I've sweated through this T-shirt.
Yes. I say you're in the sidecar. I really put you in the driver's seat for most of that, and you did all of the hard work. I really do appreciate that very much. People, please do check out The Beer Pioneer when it comes out. Season 1's still out there.
Yeah, you can get it in a variety of places. Of course, the stupid old YouTube channel. It's on CTV Plus. It still pops up on a couple of different stations around the country and Apple TV and Amazon Prime. It's also available there.
Yeah, so, good luck trying to find a place that doesn't have it.
That's right.
So season 1, that was like 8 eps, I think. 6 eps.
Yeah, around that.
Good fun. And yeah, the next season's going to be even more good fun.
A whip cracking good time.
Yeah, if you want to check out Whippy's work,
Yeah.
I mean, get ready for season 2. What an interview. I think I got to the heart of what makes him tick, Whippy. All right. Thanks for joining us. And then what Jess always says bye right at the end, okay? So I'll say laters.
Bye.
Well, what fillings do you want to be?
Like really yummy ones.
I'm avocado.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd be like I reckon I'm lettuce 'cause I'm crunchy.
This sandwich is just avocado and lettuce?
No. I'm also cheese.
Yeah, he's cheese.
Okay, there's a protein. That's
I'm,
good.
I'm a chutney.
Okay, what are we talking about? Spicy chutney?
It's got a bit of a kick to it, but it's not going to burn your face off. You
Some
know?
chutneys have raisins in it, which I'm
Ooh,
against.
no. I'm a
Get that
raisinless
raisin out of there.
chutney.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't
good.
like raisins, full stop.
Me neither. Why does every baked good have to have a
I
raisin
don't.
in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, somehow I forgive it in a bun, but ideally still no raisins, especially in savoury foods. Get rid of it,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh, you're
don't-
saying like in a
yeah.
sweet bun.
and also in
Yeah.
sweet things. Get rid of it.
Okay.
You can go to Baker's Delight and go, I'll have the apple and custard scroll. And they're like, great. And then it also has raisins.
Nah.
Like, excuse me, why wasn't that in the title?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
It's
is that
'cause
just
it's a filler.
implied? Yeah.
It's
I wanted
gross.
apple and custard. That's
Yeah.
what I wanted.
Because if you go, oh, you have fruitless then. So there isn't a middle ground. You're either with raisins or you're without raisins.
Yeah.
You can't go, well, can't I just have a fruit? No, you're like, you have
Nah.
to line up with all the just custard people.
Yeah.
Get rid of the raisins.
Mm.
But then I like Sultana bran and I like fruit and nut chocolate.
Well,
so-
I don't understand you at all.
This man makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain that. I think
Yeah.
it's things that I liked as a child
Uh-huh.
have nostalgia gets me through, and apart from that, I'm like, ugh.
So what
like,
about those sample packs when you get those little sample pack cereals when you're on holiday or whatever? You'd go for the Sultana brand, the little mini
Yeah,
box.
that's probably the one I'd go to. As a kid, I would have gone Cocoa Pops and Nutri-Grain as well,
Okay.
but they're too sweet for me now. It's like the Sultana brand and like cornflakes and rice bubbles. I'm bored of that. Don't
Okay.
miniaturize those.
You've ever combined a cereal?
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah,
combining.
I love combining as well.
Lately, I've been working with oats and rice bubbles.
Yeah,
It's a
interesting.
good combo.
Oh.
Wait, you're talking about like so you actually so you've cooked the oats in a porridge and then
No,
you've
no,
added
just raw rolled oats on top.
on top of your rice bubbles.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
so
can't
what's
eat
the
rice
what's
bubbles by
what's the
themselves.
ratio?
50-50.
Interesting.
I don't like rice bubbles by themselves because I ran out of oats and I still had a box of rice bubbles and I had them by myself. I'm like, this is boring. This is. It felt like labor,
And what did you add for? What did you?
like
did you
giving birth.
Did you add anything to the mix? Was it just white
and,
foods?
and milk. Oh yeah, milk is a white food. I think. That's it. Geez, we've gone on a weird tangent early.
good
If
5
people
minute chat
didn't
about
turn
food.
off when they heard Dave wasn't here, they certainly have now.